Yeah, no Brock, no Salk. We don't need him. Hey, we got the crew. We got me. We got Mora. We have Lyle. Lyle's wide awake. Lyle, I've learned all about your sleep habits. It's fascinating. I think that's what I'm most excited about talking about today. Sure, the Mariners had a thrilling win. They put up 11 runs. They came back from the brink of disaster. They won in extras to win the series. The draft's 6 days away. But I learned a lot about your sleep habits, Lyle, so I can't wait to get into that.
I wish they were better. I really do. But I do feel awake today.
Yeah?
Just for you, I made sure to be awake
Perfect.
today.
And why not? It's a Friday.
You got him on
it's
an
gonna
alert
be a
day,
great,
Lefko.
an alert day. There we go. We got an alert, Lyle. How could you not be excited about today? An alert, Lyle. All that stuff that's happening with the Mariners coming off the series win against the Reds. Mora, I told you I'm about to get into summer Lefko, right? Which we know this is my time. Pickleball, maybe some paddleboard later.
You and I both love paddleboarding, but you will start considering it at like 60 degrees. And
Which
that's
is
not warm
today.
enough for me.
So here we go. It's time to go paddleboard later. So I'm excited for all of that coming up. But yeah, this Mariners game from literally the brink of disaster. I mean, after you have a lead, it's pretty comfortable. All right, it starts to get a little uneasy as it did a couple times in this series. They're able to get out of it in the game. My days of the week are all thrown off. On the game on Thursday, or the game on Wednesday, and then yesterday, it really starts to spiral. And after that grand slam, it was like, yeah, this is going to be just one of those losses you look back on, especially for what Dan Wilson has stressed heading into this year, the 162 individual battles. All the players talking, on this show and on Wyman and Bob, when we were down there in spring training as well, that the start of the season is so important. So after all of that, if you were going to have a game where it just doesn't happen, yeah, it's going to be frustrating. And after all of that, you then have a situation where Randy Arozarena comes through to tie the game after Cal Raleigh almost not stunned Cincinnati, but just does it again. Another home run this series. It was very funny. So Justin was sitting down there, and I don't know why or how he came upon this, but he discovered the Reds call, and the Reds announcers are sitting there talking. Famous last words. They start the ninth, and they're like, yeah, the great thing about a 2-run lead is you don't have to worry about one pitch giving it all away. And then as the color analyst is saying that, the play-by-play guy's like, well, and there's a home run. So we talked, first of all, broadcasting, the most essential part of broadcasting baseball, never miss the pitch, which that analyst talked right through it. Raleigh hits the home run. Arozarena comes back with a tie, and then they just break it open in the 10th inning. And afterward, Dan Wilson was talking about how essential that game and the series win was for the Mariners.
There are pivotal points in the season. I think early on that was a pivotal point for us, and this game's going to be a pivotal point. This is a big win for us to get this series and then move on. And again, just these guys, they fight and they fight hard and they fight till the end, and it's just it really feels good to bask in that effort today.
Yeah, I imagine the plane ride feels a lot better after a win like that. That's just one of those. And momentum, I know it's been a pretty heated debate at times about whether momentum can truly exist in some sports, especially in baseball, because, you throw out that old adage, okay, momentum's next day's starting pitcher. And to some extent, yeah. I think a win like this builds a lot of belief in a team where year to year, you have a lot of different pieces. You have the core that has stayed through it. But to see a team like that come up with a win like this, that's got to give you a lot of optimism. And right now, yeah, we feel good about Cal Raleigh. That's the obvious one. But I think I feel the best about Randy Arozarena. And this man is clutch. This man is undeniably clutch this season with everything he's come through and done, especially in late game scenarios. The 8th inning on opening day, the Astros finale where he literally won it for him because of the grand slam, and then the bases loaded walk-off walk, and then even the Giants game, that Sunday game against the Giants where they ended up losing, but he had the 9th inning game-tying hit last night as well where he just drives in runs like nobody's business. So Arozarena is great, and
well, clutch
I'm not sure if we could have expected that. Yeah,
searching for all of last year, it felt like, right? Cal could be put in that category sometimes. There were moments, but I don't think they had that guy that you just knew when he came up. I mean, the offense was struggled overall immensely last year, but it felt like they didn't have that. So if he can keep that up, that would be amazing.
Well, I don't know how you guys feel about maybe the long term for Arozarena, if you think this will still track, and we can throw that out there throughout the show on the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. But when it comes to Arozarena, do you think this is the version the Mariners are going to get? Not necessarily, okay, every single time he's going to come through with a home run. Maybe you can only expect that out of Cal, and I'm joking when I say that. But, you know, game in and game out, I think we have seen this sample size of Arozarena that it feels like he can produce in a big moment. I am confident and comfortable when he's up there. Not just that, but, I mean, he gets on base. He's doing everything. He leads the league in walks. He has 16. He's tied with Matt Chapman for the league in walks. He will steal a couple bases. He's at presence in the batter's box, and he's delivered right now. It's been exciting. So I don't know if you guys feel the same way. If Arozarena, you're confident in what you might get out of him the whole year, but in clutch moments, I'm high on the Randy train.
I see Lyle crunching numbers back here.
I know. I saw his face.
Final decision,
the processing. Yeah.
He's always had a knack for the clutch moment, right? This goes all the way back to the World Series when he just lit the world on fire. So that is an element of the team they definitely did not have last year, to both your guys' point. And to have a guy that does not seem to not get fazed by the pressure, but just like kind of live for the big moments is good. The big thing I talked about, though, with Randy for this year moving forward is he's got to be on the fastball, because that was something that killed him last year. He's not doing anything crazy against heaters yet, but you know what? It's such a small sample that on April 18th, I'll let it play out a little bit. That's just something I'm watching throughout the year.
No, and it's fair, because throughout most of these games, it's been, all right, well, you know, he's not coming through consistently until it gets to the late stage situation. And then you have Arozarena. Seems like he's been up in a key moment, and he has delivered. On the other side, and I'll spin to negativity for a second. It's tough to be negative today after that win, and it is a Friday, and there's a lot going well. But, you know, the Julio issue is kind of glaring, especially when he's right up there in the leadoff spot, and he has that 1-for-6 game. And he's just, the numbers are not there. I mean, you don't have to go with the traditional numbers. You can go with any number you want. Any metric for Julio is not great right now. And it's just so glaring in that leadoff spot. And I know there's not a great option. There's not necessarily a plug and play, well, this guy should be leading off. But right now, it's getting to the point of almost a liability when Julio's up there. So if I'm the Mariners, you know, maybe think about putting Dylan Moore back up there for the time, because he's riding that hot bat. He led off in that first game against the Reds. It worked very well. They don't have a Victor Robles right now. I don't think you move J.P. Crawford out of the 9-hole, because he's found that little niche there. They tried it last year for a few times, came back from injury, put him in the leadoff spot, didn't work well. So Crawford in the 9-hole is great. But even John Morosi yesterday, he was on with Wyman and Bob. He said, yeah, you kind of have to move Julio out of that top spot.
I would consider moving him down in the lineup. I think it's gone on long enough that you've got to think about what's best for the group, and maybe you put a better on-base percentage player in the top spot. When you look at the underlying numbers with Julio right now, and I've been a big believer in him that he's eventually going to normalize, and I think that will happen at some point. But it's not just a small sample size of right now. There have been some pretty serious peaks and a lot of valleys, obviously. You look at the StatCast information that gives you a lot of insight about the whiff rate, how often he's chasing, the lack of being able to square the ball up. The trends are pretty concerning.
All right, let's throw out a lineup construction here. So we'll throw out a quick little lineup projection. I would say, going into today, just to kind of tinker, you go Dylan Moore, and then you go Polanco, Raleigh, Arozarena, Julio 5th. What do you think about that, Lyle? 5th or 6th? What do you think about moving Julio down a little bit lower?
It'd be interesting. How many times did he hit that low in the lineup last year? It was just a few, right?
So 5th has been his fewest. I had all the splits up there. But 5th, he has the fewest at bats. I don't think he's ever hit 6th in the lineup. 2nd, by the way, is where he's hit the most, obviously. But his numbers aren't very good. His numbers comparatively are much better hitting leadoff, but still they're not as great. 3, 4, and 5, he's hitting markedly better. You're not going to have him 3rd, not going to have him 4th. So that was just like, okay, maybe a 5th or 6th. And I don't know if it makes that big of a difference, because they want him up there for a reason. He has the potential. He has the skill. He has everything you want in a leadoff hitter. If you're getting on base, he's got speed. But right now, I don't know. It's not working out. So here, I'll come back. We'll have all the splits for you, and we will continue that conversation about Julio. But we have to get to a lot more that you need to know about this upcoming Mariners series against the Blue Jays. There's a big reason why Toronto might want to keep Cal Raleigh out of the country. We'll get to that and everything you need to know up next. This is the Brock and Salk Show on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
You know, there's nothing better than having a big fish on your line, and you'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Make moments into memories. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now before you miss out on peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut in May and June. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. Oh, and remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the perfect gift for your favorite golfer to welcome back spring. With 7 prepaid rounds at any public Oki golf course location, along with 7 50% off guest passes and unlimited discounted green fees, the Players Card is a must-have. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com today to secure one for you and your golfing loved one this April.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Hey, it's me, the foul pole at T-Mobile Park. But it's about time they call me the fair pole, because those are the moments I live for. When Cal's up to the plate, I'm always on high alert.
The big dumper with a 2-run blast.
And then there's Randy Arozarena, launching missiles into the stands, flipping his bat so high it practically reaches my eye level.
Blasted back, Randy Arozarena strikes again.
And J-Rod, heck, when he connects, he makes the whole building shake.
And it's gone. Goodbye, baseball. Julio Rodriguez.
So come on down and take a seat beside me. You might even go home with a souvenir. Mariners baseball, Tridents up.
The Mariners are back in town starting April 25th, and you won't want to miss 2 great giveaways. City Connect Captain's Hat Friday the 25th and Moose Shoulder Plush Night Saturday the 26th. Plus, score value game seats as low as $10 April 29th and 30th. Go to mariners.com to get your tickets and check out everything on deck.
SoFi Personal Loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible: overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right, pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply, NMLS 696891.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Want to get rid of clutter and reclaim your space? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling for the greater Seattle area. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We prioritize donating and recycling, so we'll look for opportunities to do just that. instead of going to the landfill. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. So one of my favorite customers I've ever had, he came in and had a really bad experience with several different dealerships. He just lost his husband. His husband left him with a truck, and he was like, I don't need a truck. Like, this is so impractical for me. And it was a really emotional decision for him because it was one of the last things that he had, obviously husbands. We were like, it's no problem. Like, we're going to help you. And we did the process the same way that we always do the process. And we helped him trade in his truck for a beautiful new Rogue. And that was really cool. And he bought his second car from us. And I'm sure when he needs a third car, he'll come back and buy his third car from Nissan too. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff.
Making a great day for the people around you is making a great day for yourself. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
The Mariners have won 6 of 7, including 3 straight series after an 11-7, just, pretty ho-hum, normal 10-inning win over the Reds yesterday. And it needed a 9th-inning rally. First, a home run by Cal Raleigh to bring them back within 1. And then Randy Arozarena comes through again in a clutch moment.
Here's the stretch by Pagan and the pitch on the way. Swinging a well-hit ball. Deep to left field down the line. It is gone. Goodbye, baseball. Yes, indeed, he can tie up the game. Randy Arozarena with a line shot home run. Back-to-backers by Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena. We are tied at 7.
Yeah, Arozarena drove in 3 runs, all of them coming in the 9th inning or later because he had that home run and then a 2-run double when the M's broke it open in the 10th. And that's how you get an 11-7 win. Very impressive comeback to get that series. So, that was a highlight of the game itself. But one of the highlights of the TV broadcast was an interview with Cal Raleigh's mom, Stephanie. She was with Brad Adam, and they had a really nice conversation. And she was just, I think she was kind of in awe over all the love that Seattle has given her son.
Thank you, yes. And I just want to say thank you to all of Seattle for loving my kid because you got a pretty good one. So
we absolutely do, no matter what we call him.
Yeah.
As we get back to...
He's embraced it, so...
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I think she now admits that she kind of doesn't like the nickname Big Dumper, that she's begrudgingly accepted it. Because you remember when it became a big deal in 2022 during the run, and they interviewed her, and she was like, yeah, it's great as long as he likes it. So at that point, it was still probably like, okay, I'm not going to say anything because it's new and it's fun, and this is this nickname that's catching on. But yeah, that's a mom thing, I don't think you'd like your kid to be called Big Dumper, but she has begrudgingly accepted it. What's funny, actually, is that now Big Dumper has itself become shortened to Dumper. So he's got a nickname for a nickname. So we're so far removed from Cal or Raleigh that it's just, if you're not going to call him Big Dumper, you can call him Dumper. Now that's his name now. So I guess that's why she has begrudgingly accepted that. But yeah, good moments all around from Cal Raleigh here. I'll call him that because he had that home run. He now has 8 home runs this season, second most in baseball behind Tyler Soderstrom. And now the Mariners head to Toronto where, by the way, Cal Raleigh has 6 home runs in 30 career at-bats at the Rogers Center. So every 5 at-bats, he's just churning out home runs there. We'll see what happens this weekend. First pitch, 4:07 for Game 1 of the series in Toronto today. Pre-game coverage begins here on Seattle Sports at 3 o'clock. One thing to watch, though, and we'll get into this throughout the show coming up, Mariners used 7 relievers yesterday. 7. So everyone but Troy Taylor. So it could be critical for Brian Wu to replicate those 7 innings. He did go 7 in the last start against the Rangers. But yeah, pretty much everyone was used for the M's to pull out that 11-7 win in 10 innings.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
I'm going to annoy some people with this, and then I'm going to get some people excited. Maybe, I don't know. There's reason to get your hopes up and then simultaneously be annoyed with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver once again after he went on with Pat McAfee yesterday and discussed the league potentially expanding. So that's the key word there, potentially expanding.
We're looking at those markets and others. I think as we get into the summer, we'll get into a more formal process of how we go about doing it. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to expand, but I also think over time, organizations tend to grow. And I look at the success of those markets for other, major league teams now. And, so it's easy to just present a scenario where you can see it working successfully for the league. But I don't want to jump the gun here. We have the 30 existing teams who all need to weigh in.
All right, so he says the summer, so maybe that's some timeline that you're looking for. Then again, kind of walking it back and saying don't get your hopes up. But, the reason that we keep bringing it up is because Adam Silver, as long as he keeps throwing out a specific name in a specific city, like he did again, well, we're going to keep talking about it.
We're looking hard at it. We're sort of modeling it, for lack of better terms, in the league office. Look, there's no doubt there's been interest in Las Vegas. Seattle, I've been very public about it, that it was a market that was fantastic for the league, that we left at the time for understandable reasons, but there's no doubt that there continues to be enormous passion in that market for the NBA.
Okay, so that's the part that'll get people mad, which is fair. The understandable reasons part. So, yeah, I don't think Adam Silver gets a lot of love here. Just give us a time. Just give us a set date. By the way, for what it's worth, if anything. So, Maura, you were not at the Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards because you guys were down at spring training. Yeah, so they had me on the red carpet, which, I don't know. It was okay. No, it was fine. That's not my scene.
You did a great job.
No, thank you. But I got to talk to Gary Payton. That was a lot of fun. And he did mention, he said 2028 is what he's been hearing. And he's very involved in whatever conversations that these former Sonics have had with the NBA. So I don't know if they're going to come outright and say, yep, 2028, we're not telling anyone else yet. But if Gary Payton's saying it, I'm going to believe him. So maybe there's your time frame. Adam Silver said this summer. Gary Payton says 2028 is the first year for an expansion team. There you go. Hold on to some hope if you want to. If you don't, that's fair as well.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Well, the Aaron Rodgers saga continues to be hilarious, and I'm going to treat it like that because I know Salk pretends to get mad, but then he still talks about it anyway. Bob does the same thing, but it is just the most fascinating thing in all of sports. We got to treat it for what it is, right? It's funny. It's comical. It's kind of a clown show, especially if you have to be involved with it, which luckily none of the teams around here are. It's the Steelers right now, so I kind of feel bad for them. But Aaron Rodgers was on with Pat McAfee, and he's talking about the Steelers because right now it seems like they're holding out hope for him. But Aaron Rodgers claims that, he's not holding anyone hostage by having them wait on him.
I am trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to anything when it comes to this decision. I'm not holding anybody hostage. I really want to emphasize that. Nothing about what I'm saying. I've been upfront from the beginning. I don't mean any disrespect to any player on their team, veteran or young guy that comes in. I don't think it was fair to the Steelers or anyone, to make a decision while I'm dealing with a lot off the field. So at the same time, I want to keep the lines of communication open. That's why I've talked to all the important people, and the people that need to know what's going on.
Except the Steelers, who I think need to know because it's 6 days from the NFL draft.
I mean, look, I buy that if you're maybe if you're looking at being a backup this year and teams can just kind of grab you whenever they might need.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be a starting quarterback and everyone has pretty much said like they need to put their foot down like the Jets did this year and not be like, oh, you can just breeze into camp whenever you want. You need to be present. You need to be. It's so annoying that he thinks it. Like, everyone has to make these decisions. Poor Drew Lock's father passed away, like, a couple of weeks ago, and he still, it's like, I have to work. I have to find a job. Let's make a deal with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that he's acting like he's got these issues that are making it so much more... I just can't make a decision right now, guys. I don't understand what the problem is.
We can get fired up again next time we get to Need to Know because we will talk about this a lot. There's a lot more to get to. There is a rich tapestry of Aaron Rodgers material to talk about. Luckily, the Seahawks don't have to worry about that. They might take a quarterback. It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, but they could take someone else in the draft, a certain quarterback out of Alabama. We're actually going to learn more about Jalen Milroe and some other Alabama prospects. Head coach Kalen DeBoer joined Mike and Brock yesterday. You're going to hear that conversation coming up next. This is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Ryan Roland Smith with us.
I said Emerson Hancock was going to be the dude this year, and then he gives up a 6 spot there in the first inning.
Catching some heat on social media there.
I was.
You should have just responded, just going,
"Hey, how's the bracket looking?" Dave, you impressed me. That's a pretty dialed-in American accent right there.
It's not bad. Oh, yeah.
Now, you sound like an American geek, but it's still good.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Through June 23rd, get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data. Plus, get 1 unlimited 5G mobile line included, all for $40 a month for 1 year. And ask how you can get a free 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply with paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Xfinity Internet required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year, rate increases to $70 per month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Access fees vary, not guaranteed.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-371-0505. 800-371-0505.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Hey,
If you've been injured, you need a lawyer that is tough, confident, and battle-tested. I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law, where we help all types of injury victims like Cynthia, who was T-boned by a truck.
The airbag shattered bones in my hand. I called Warrior Injury Law and was very happy with the outcome. Rob has integrity. He cares about people. He cares about his clients. I knew that I could trust Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR for your free case review.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
They say teachers don't impact for a year, but for a lifetime. Hi, this is Rick Rizk. Join WSECU, your local credit union, as we celebrate those who give so much with the Teacher of the Week program. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. Each week throughout the season, we'll honor one teacher with a $500 grant, courtesy of WSECU. Teachers are the real MVPs. Find out more and nominate a teacher at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, how about this? 1 week before the NFL draft, the head coach at Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, joining us right now. And something tells me there'll be a few Alabama guys drafted this year for a change. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Appreciate you guys having me on. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, we're doing well. You know, when the baseball team wins, we feel good. When I look in the stats and I see Alexis with 367, 15 bombs, one of the best freshman years in Husky softball history. That's Alexis DeBoer. It's a good Thursday morning, Coach.
I appreciate that. Brock. It's good to hear your voice, and I'm proud of that too. Things are good. Enjoying life and everything that comes with it.
How was year one in the SEC, Coach?
It was what you'd expect, and especially coming in as a first year. Some ups and downs, and you're getting to know your personnel. You got a first year staff, so there's highs and lows. I think got a group of guys that have come together here in year two, continuing to keep the right ones here, and they're making the choices and decisions that you need to make, and putting the strain and effort into the work that matters most to make year two, go to another level. So continuity on the staff for the most part, the addition of, as you know, Ryan Grubb, and then everyone else really being here, and the players, a couple of guys that we'll talk about here in the show, just getting drafted, that will take away from, some production, but we're excited about this next season.
Well, I think I got four on my mind that I want to make sure we ask you about, and maybe we'll start with the big fella, Tyler Booker, because his name keeps coming up, and I keep hearing the word nasty, physical, mauler. What are the strengths and weaknesses for Booker?
Well, this guy's one of the better and best leaders I've ever been around, and he can do it because he puts the work in, and so there's no hypocritical piece to it when he's asking everything out of the people around him. He has a mindset that you absolutely would love. Brock is the quarterback. You want those guys in front of you, and the ones that are going to protect you, and it's a personal thing if anyone's even getting close to his quarterback. And so he plays to and sometimes through the whistle. Love that about him, and he just has a mindset, and his effort and energy is contagious throughout the entire, not just offensive line, but the entire team. And so he's a guy that more of an interior offensive line, just thick, mobile, got some twitch, really good twitch to him, but he played some tackle for us too, a couple games, and did a really good job there. He could easily play inside and snap, so very versatile.
The question about him, Kalen, when we talk to all of the draft nicks that we've had on for the last month, and obviously the need there for the Seahawks in their interior line is, well, is he a outside zone guy? Is he fast enough? Is he athletic enough? He's massive. He's a mauler. He's everything you talked about. But does he have the skill set, the appropriate first step quickness and other things that these guys talk about to really live in this kind of outside zone Kubiak kind of world? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think so. I think he showed growth last year, and I think that he still got his best football ahead of him. And I think he's a guy that can really adapt. He will pour everything into it. And I understand if there's limitations a person has, it doesn't matter how much you put into it. So you got to find the right fit. But I really do. I think he's got that mobility. He's got that flex and bend that you're looking for. So I think he's a top tier guy. In the draft as an offensive lineman.
This might be the first time in the history of sports radio that a duo led off with the offensive line prospect before getting to the quarterback prospect. And so we'll be turning in our sports radio credentials probably by tomorrow. I don't know there's actually a mandate that you start with the quarterback, so I won't let it go too far. Let's talk about Jalen Milroe. The question I think that people have about Milroe, because I'm fascinated. We all are. The running, everything else. I got to hear more about the passing, because I think the concern is this Anthony Richardson part 2? How is he different as a passer from what the league has seen here with Anthony Richardson in the last few years?
Yeah, I'll apologize. Like I know who Anthony Richardson is, of course, but from studying his film and knowing every detail about him, I can't say I do. But I do know, Jalen. I mean, when it comes off his hand, it comes off with some spin. It comes off hot. It comes up, he can throw the ball down the field. 2 years ago, he had a really good season throwing the ball, vertically down the field. And, one of the higher completion percentages, Penix, I think was right up there. They were in the top 2 or 3 together, in 2023. I think just continuing I think there is growth for him in just, overall, pass concepts, reads, and things like that. But the guy pours everything into it. It's just a matter of being comfortable. And I think, you're going to have that balance once in a while when you have someone that's such a great athlete like him, and figure out how you want that and what your offensive system is going to be. The best coordinators, can figure that out. And, you see that with Lamar Jackson and a few other guys, because Jalen has a superpower, and that's running the football, but he also I think has the capability of being a strong passer as well.
How good is he at running the football?
He's elite. And we did a lot of things just putting him in the gun and trying to give him as many reads, and then sometimes reads where you give the ball to the tailback, but also there was times where we just, emptied the backfield and picked a side and, checked our numbers and let him go. And, he was as good as any running back, I've really ever been around, just with the ball in his hands that way.
Kalen DeBoer here with us over almost 19 years on the college football trail. It was really interesting over that time frame to see guys, and many of them bristled at being running quarterbacks. I don't want to do that. And guys that were super skilled at it because of perception and playing in the league and wanting to throw in the pocket and do all of that stuff. Is Jalen a guy that if the league said, hey, man, we want you to come in here and do some of this wildcat, some of this joker, be more than just a drop back quarterback? Does he have a willingness and a want to be and utilize that super skill set of running the football?
Yeah, I think that's a question actually I've been asked probably as much as anything to, what's his willingness to come in and, does he feel like he's got to be the guy right away and a starter? Is he willing to learn? Is he, the role, early on? I everything I know about Jalen Milroe, he's unselfish. He'll do whatever it takes. He's excited about the next step and, just finding the right organization that he can mesh with, on a personal level, but also obviously the professional level. So, you get him in whatever role he can, and I think then that's where you make an impact. I equate it kind of like to guys who do special teams, and then all of a sudden that grows their role to maybe being on the field more defensively and offensively. I think that's what you can do with him if that's where he ends up going, is to an organization where, that's the starting point for him. But I think, growth for him is going to happen because he observes, he pours everything into it. He's going to, be there early and stay late. And so, whatever you ask of him, he's going to learn, process, and continue to grow.
What position does Jihad Campbell play at the NFL level?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of inside and outside, very much like we used him, inside backer. I've asked that question a little bit when teams start talking to me, and just kind of curious myself. I know what he was really good at for us, and I think he's got more room to grow from an inside backer, but he's got elite traits. He runs the football, and he's got instincts. He can go sideline to sideline. So, an inside guy that can come off the edge. And that's what we did with packages on especially third down, where we just wanted to cut him loose. He's got great length. So, passing lanes and so forth, when he's off the ball and in coverage is one thing. And even using that length when he's coming off the edge to, getting passing or getting the quarterback's vision, cause some problems that way. So, the guys, all three of these guys that we're talking about are just phenomenal human beings. I really mean that. And Jihad's fun to be around, going to be an extremely hard worker, and just going to soak up everything that comes his way as people try to figure out that exact role for him. But he's an elite performer, a playmaker. He finishes plays. I think that's the thing. He finishes. He gets guys on the ground. He beats you, and then makes the tackle, makes the sack, whatever it is.
Is he an alpha?
Book is definitely an alpha, and I think, Jalen and Jihad are certainly that from a confidence, and they're not afraid to be out in front of the team. They will speak to the group. They are convicted in who they are and what they want it to look like. I think, he comes in and, he's the perfect teammate that way, that can grow to the leader you want to be, because he's not going to come in with some arrogance or stuff like that. And so, I don't think alphas have to be that way. Some are, but he's going to be the perfect teammate. There's no question about that.
The other name, as we're talking to Kalen DeBoer, the other name that has popped up here, and probably in a later round situation, is Malachi Moore. What should we know about him?
Yeah, Malachi, this guy has got passion. He got fire. He's played a lot of football here at Alabama, played it, for a couple different coordinators on the defensive side, and did it extremely well, called the shots for us. He's a smart, intelligent. He tested out very well. Don't ask me what those exact numbers were, but I know that they were impressive. He played through some dings this last season and still performed. He was a heartbeat. One of the guys that was the heartbeat, him and Jihad, maybe one or two other guys that really kept the whole thing together and allowed us to improve as the season's going along on the defensive side in particular. But he plays with passion on game day, but he practices that way as well. And so he just loves ball and everything that comes with it.
Hey, last thing here for you, Kalen, and thanks for taking the time and filling in a bunch of blanks. I'm just curious what Ryan Grubb's experience was in the NFL when you guys are having some sweet tea down there in the South and reminiscing about the year that was for Ryan and everything he experienced at the NFL level and with these Seahawks. What were some of his takeaways?
Yeah, I think it was a great – anytime you do something new, and that was certainly new, there's always going to be great growth. And, I've known him for a long time, and that's what's going to happen with Ryan anyway. He's a guy that's always going to try to press to be better. And I think he's really used that experience, as I would have expected, to even be better coming here now. And, we honestly have been going so hard with everything, trying to put everything together. We haven't really kicked back and talked like that. But I can see just how he's operating again with, our team and with our staff. There's a high percentage that's consistent with how we've always done things, but there's these little tweaks, whether it's schematics or just philosophical things that just continue to add to what he's already done. So, the pedal's down always when you're working with him, and pushing to be elite and be the best, and that's his expectation for himself, which then allows him to be able to ask that of everyone else around him. So he elevates everyone in our program, and he's done an awesome job here in these first few months.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us here this morning and getting us ready for the draft. I'm totally confused and befuzzled as to what I think the Seahawks should do. I've gone back and forth here now like 100 times. Do they go defensive end? Do they go guard? Do they go? This whole thing, I'm torn up. But this has given us a lot of good information. And Tyler Booker's definitely a guy, as Jalen Milroe. I think all of these guys are real conversations here in Seattle. So thanks for giving us some of your unique insight into it. We appreciate it.
You bet. I appreciate you guys as well, and be well. So thank you.
Yeah, that was Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer on with Mike and Brock yesterday. As you can imagine, there are some passionate responses, understandably so, after hearing from the former coach of the Huskies, and I understand that. But there are a lot of Alabama prospects, and he gave some insight. By the way, if you do want to feel better about a DeBoer with the Huskies, his daughter is absolutely raking. So Alexis DeBoer, she's a freshman for UW softball, leads the team with 15 home runs, 46 RBI, hitting .367. So there you go. One DeBoer still making an impact here. I don't think it'll lessen the sting, but just funny conversation. That was quite a January. Remember that? That seemed like the most chaotic January maybe in a long time in Seattle sports.
Pete Carroll and the Seahawks parting ways, and Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama within like 24 hours of each other.
Yeah, and then the actual coaching search here for the Seahawks, the coaching search for the Huskies, and you hire McDonald at the end of the month. There were like 8 other things that happened. I think that's when what's his name? Someone got fired. People got fired. It was just quite a month for firing. So we'll have to go back and relive the January of 2024 because that was chaotic. But yeah, there are some guys that jump out there, and we can get into Jalen Milroe a little bit more at 7 o'clock, but I kind of have come around to Jihad Campbell. And I don't know if he'll be there. So this might be getting excited for nothing, but maybe it was listening to Dave Wyman because he's always going to sell you on a linebacker. And maybe it's just kind of thinking, okay, we know Mike McDonald, what he can do with linebackers. And I think Wyman referred to it yesterday as his strength is building up through the middle, through those defensive tackles, through the linebackers, and then obviously you get to the secondary. But really up through that middle with the first 2 lines of defense there, you have the interior of the defensive line, you have the inside linebackers. And Mike McDonald has done so well in developing guys that have success there. So if you bring in an impact player, it's very appealing. I am really excited thinking about the depth you would have. And maybe it's a Super Bowl overreaction too, but it seems like the way to win now, especially with what the Seahawks have, is to just become the most dominant defense around. Waves and waves of depth. That Eagles style where they'll roll out a defensive line and then they'll roll out 4 more guys who are just as good as any other starting defensive line across the NFL. And you could break down an offense like that. The Eagles did it. And then the Eagles had all these random guys popping up, making impact plays. So is it safe to assume that, Tyree Snyder is just going to give you everything that he gave you in year 1? Maybe not. Maybe if you believe in Mike McDonald's coaching ability. But it's also great to have, hey, even if you do have Tyrese Knight and you have Ernest Jones, that can be a depth piece. That can be a guy who pushes a linebacker in Jihad Campbell, or vice versa, where Campbell, as a first-round pick, then pushes Tyrese Knight to get better, because all of a sudden you're looking over your shoulder and a guy was just drafted who might be coming for your job. So I think competition at these elite positions, especially defensively, is so important.
Well, and you should feel pretty good about, like you said, we've seen what Mike McDonald could do even with getting some journeyman linebackers off the street and doing pretty well with them. But you should feel pretty good about them drafting Tyrese Knight in the 4th round and getting what they did out of him last year. So it looks like he has a good eye for that position as well.
Yeah, and so if Mike McDonald kind of stands on that table and convinces the room, like, this is the guy, this is the best player that we could get, I hope they go with it. I have really kind of oscillated back and forth about 18, and we'll ask Brady about it. Brady Henderson's going to pop in at 7:45 for Blue 88. But I was initially on that offensive line train. Offensive line. Obviously, offensive line is the most glaring weakness, and to get a first-round offensive line talent is something that they haven't done, that hasn't come around often. Sure, when they drafted in the top 10, they got Charles Cross, and he made an impact. But drafting towards those late teens, maybe there just isn't a guy that is a difference maker compared to what you could get at 50 and 52, because recent history has shown there are impact interior linemen and impact centers that go in that range. Really, you go back through like the last 4 or 5 years of the draft, people have gotten starting centers and starting interior linemen in that mid-50 range. So now I've kind of really swung the opposite way of that could be there. That could be a guy where you have a lineman, especially on the interior, that you could get in that second round area where you're at. Or even, hey, if the Seahawks really want a guy, you have those 2 second-round picks, you have later picks, maybe they do move up a couple of spots to get a lineman in the second round. But at 18, with a defensive-minded head coach, I want defense. I'm very tempted by an impact defensive player over an interior offensive lineman.
Now, is that limited to the front, or would you be okay with a cornerback too?
Yes, good question. It would be a kind of pause and reassess what's happening moment, but because Devin Witherspoon made such an impact, and I know you guys have talked about this, cornerback is a pressing need. It's not number one on your list of needs, but you don't really have a cornerback. You certainly don't have any cornerbacks after this season, potentially, because Reek Woolen's entering the final year of his contract. Your other outside corner right now is Josh Jobe. Nothing against Josh Jobe, but he was not a starter the first few weeks of last season. He's a guy that then came in, and he showed enough to convince you that he's a solid player over there. But you certainly need to upgrade that position. You can never have enough, and that's kind of why I'm going along the linebacker and defensive line path of you can never have enough impact players at those premium positions on defense. And we know how much they cost, right? Like the Seahawks have rarely paid for a cornerback entering his second contract over these last few years because they can go make absurd, maybe overpay money. Like Shaquille Griffin. He made absurd money when he left the Seahawks. So if you can draft a guy and have him come in. Now, the one thing, Maura, here's where I'd kind of hesitate, because they drafted 2 last year, and 1 didn't even work out. 2 out of Auburn, right? DJ James and who else?
Nehemiah Pritchett.
Yeah, Nehemiah Pritchett. So Nehemiah Pritchett's still here, but you have drafted a lot. But yeah, new draft, new year. You need to figure out ways to improve the holes in your roster. I think I would be fine with every defensive position. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Defense, yeah. Is there the wide receiver debate? I know it's pretty heated on this show. Is wide receiver, not even talk about quarterback. We'll talk about quarterback separately. But is wide receiver the one position that would give you pause? Would anything else be fine, or are there other positions where you'd think, well, I'm not so sure about that one? At 18.
The wide receiver one would be tough.
Just the wide receiver, yeah.
I still hope it's an offensive lineman at the end of the day, just because just how many times can they neglect this position? I just, like, if it was up to me, I'd use 3 of those first 5 picks on offensive linemen. Now, I'm not the GM, but I would get 2 guards and a center just to try to get this thing right once and for all. But, yeah, would I be okay with a Kenneth Grant or a Jalen Walker or Jahad Campbell? Yeah, because Mike McDonald's a defensive-minded coach, and if he's stamping his approval so firmly on one of these guys, he probably knows what he's talking about.
Mara?
Yeah, to me, it's, I think, more about the receivers. If there was one that I was truly in love with at that position or at that spot, then I think I would say, but Brock has really talked us out of Teteroa McMillan. He really doesn't like the effort issues there and some of the I don't watch film statements. And then Matthew Golden, I feel like those guys that are like just the fastest never work out. It's like, ooh, 4.29, but then that never seems to translate. So I'm a little leery, I think, just of the guys that are going to be there at 18 for a receiver. I think you can find some value probably in the second or third round if that's what you want to do. And as far as defense, I would really only want them to do D-line in the first round, but I'm leaning towards offensive line still.
Okay. I'll throw a quick devil's advocate out there. Sam Darnold was really good when he had great receiving weapons.
Yeah.
So maybe the Seahawks are thinking we need to surround him with as many receiving weapons as possible.
Bad when he has no time,
That's
like
true.
most quarterbacks.
He has no time. He's not good like he was at the end of the year. So give them some linemen. I think they can address it at 50 and 52. We'll see. But there is one thing, and there is one position there we didn't talk about, but we're going to get to, because John Schneider said one word. It was just one word that had everyone buzzing yesterday. So we'll get into that coming up next. Mike Lefko in here with you on Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
No more waiting. It's time to go all in on that new car. And Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are the dealerships to make it happen. Why? Because they're all in for you. All in on the widest selection of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles with their combined inventory. All in on their amazing staff and incredible showrooms. And all in on setting you up with a test drive so you can take that car home the same day. Go all in, whether you're in the north or the south. Toyota of Kirkland and Renton got you covered. Visit in person today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code GROW. Swishradio.com, code GROW.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com. This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Evan Cohen here. When the draft clock is ticking, you've got to pick the best talent, regardless of position, to fit your team's needs. Well, if you're hiring for your business, you want to find the best talent for any of your roles. That's why you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology hustles to find qualified candidates for your job immediately. And if you see a standout candidate, ZipRecruiter lets you personally invite them to apply. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/USL. That's ZipRecruiter.com/USL.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Heward and Matt Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
Heward, not exactly Joe Cat there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
It's been a fun Friday so far. We have a lot more still to get to. Going to be a very fun Friday. Mike Lefko here with you. No Brock, no Salk. We don't need him. We don't need him today. We got Lyle. We have Maura. And then coming up, what do you guys call it? The Friday Friends? Is this the Friday rotation?
Yeah.
The usual crowd that you know and love?
I think Salk says it's Friends Day or something.
Okay,
like that.
Friends Day. Yeah, sure. So we have G coming in at 8:30, Stacy at 9. You're used to those two. They're here every Friday pretty much. So you'll have those two joining us. And then Shannon Drayer coming up at 7:30. I believe they arrived in Toronto safely. I want to ask her for sure if Cal Raleigh was allowed in the country because he is just a Canada killer. He destroys the Blue Jays in Toronto, so we have to confirm that Cal Raleigh arrived safely. She joins us at 7:30. Brady Henderson will pop in at 7:45 for Blue 88 because we are 6 days away from the first round of the NFL draft. And John Schneider was on with Wyman and Bob yesterday. He will have one more conversation in the hour leading up to the draft, so he will join them one more time, and I'm sure he'll reveal right then who he's picking.
That's pretty cool that he makes time to talk to your show on draft day.
Yeah. I think they would like it if he'd give them more of a hint because 2 years ago, he claimed that he gave a hint about who they were drafting in that final conversation. And they have gone back, and we've all gone back and tried to listen to every single word he's uttered.
Well, are they like Pete Carroll's Twitter hints?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if
think.
anyone ever figured those out.
Yeah, did anyone figure those out? No.
They weren't actually
figured it out.
They weren't. No.
I mean, I didn't think
It
so.
was just a way to get you to look at what he was tweeting. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So maybe John Schneider dropped a hint. Maybe he didn't. But he keeps leaving little morsels about one certain position. And that would be quarterback. Because they were talking about Drew Lock, and now they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. And John Schneider made sure to say, well, hold on. We might not be done yet at quarterback.
It doesn't preclude us from doing anything in the draft either, and figuring out what's going on there. It's really like, okay, let's get this in the mix. Drew had other opportunities, so we figured we better wrap this up, kind of put a bow on it, get him in the building, and then, let's see what happens in the draft because, it's difficult to find that right fit at quarterback as you move through the process. So, yeah, really excited to have, all 4 of those guys, but, in particular to have Sam Howell and Drew kind of competing for that second spot's a pretty good deal for us.
Preclude. Preclude is now the buzzword of the day, of the week, and probably of the next week until the draft because he said it's not going to keep them from potentially drafting a quarterback. And that kind of jumped out to everyone. Like, why go out of your way to mention that? Well, because we're talking about it. So it's obviously not something where he would reveal one way or another what they're going to do, but we know this, right? The interest in quarterbacks the Seahawks have had, the kind of dancing around that position. They have not drafted a quarterback in a long time. The famous, they've only drafted 2 under John Schneider. So there are quarterbacks that are maybe not as popular as the ones last year. But what's interesting is there are also quarterbacks that might then be there at number 18 for the Seahawks because they weren't there at 16 last year. what, 6?
Yeah, because I got
went
the
in top
feeling they
12?
might have
Yeah.
considered some of those guys last year, but there was no way they were going to get one without moving up.
And they weren't going to move up. And I
No.
think it played out perfectly because the run on quarterbacks led to elite talent still being available. Because if you don't need a quarterback, you can get some great positions elsewhere, and especially when only one defensive player had been drafted. So the Seahawks had a great pick fall right to them because everyone was going offense last year. But because he said that, and then he also, a few weeks before, specifically pushed back on the quarterback class.
Yeah, I'd be careful when you hear people say this isn't a great job.
It's been said by kind of everybody.
It's a bit, yeah. I mean, heck yeah.
Everybody knows.
Every
John.
team that's been out there talking about it on national television, right? Yeah. No, I think it depends on the team, how they view the player, the quarterback. Again, how you're going to acquire him, where you're going to acquire him. But, bringing him through the building is another, it's really about, okay, more time. We need more answers. We need more time with this player based on the questions that we need answered in terms of the vision we see for this player and the fit. It's not necessarily like it's separate from how you can acquire the player on draft weekend.
So that was in regards to Jalen Milroe, who was there. He visited the Seahawks. And here's what I can't figure out. So, Maura, I need your help with this.
Well, right?
Yeah. I need your help with this, Maura. And the text line, 866-979-3776, Mac and Jack's text line. So Jalen Milroe was invited and accepted an invitation to the first round of the draft. Why? I have not been able to figure that out. Why is Jalen Milroe going?
Yeah, I heard Mel Kiper talking about this, and he was like, they don't like to invite guys unless they think they're they don't want them. They think it's a bad look for a quarterback from Alabama to be sitting there for 3 rounds just twiddling his thumbs. So he's like, maybe the NFL draft, the people who do the invitations that know something here, maybe they're starting to hear some buzz.
Could that buzz be around the Seahawks?
I don't know.
I think if there's going to be Seahawk buzz, I would hopefully put it on Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart can represent more of what you think a first-round quarterback could be. It could turn into.
It would be hard to see Schneider wait
first.
this long to draft a quarterback and go with one that has. I think Milroe has a lot of potential, probably the highest potential of anyone, or the highest talent level of anyone here, talent ceiling. But there's a lot of rough edges that need to be smoothed out there. It would be interesting to see Schneider wait this long to take a quarterback and then take him that early.
Which, to your point, could be perfect because he can develop. Because they have these 4 quarterbacks, and they obviously have a starter in Sam Darnold and then a couple of solid backup options. So you would draft a guy to develop. I'm fascinated to know the reaction if this actually happens. We'll all be there on draft night. I know you guys were talking about what Salk's going to do if they draft a wide receiver at 18. Fascinated to know what he would do if they draft a quarterback at 18. And I think it would say that, look, we are putting our faith in this being the future because drafting a quarterback comes with more risk than any other position. And that's why GMs and entire front office cycles are built on quarterbacks. And that elusive trying to find the guy, your constant search to find the guy that can lead you for a long time. Teams go through this endless cycle of trying to find your franchise quarterback that it causes you to maybe make a risky quarterback pick. There have been terrible quarterback drafts. There have been really good ones. It looks like last year shaping up to be a really good one. And because the Seahawks have been so QB adverse, not even in the first round, but did not ever draft a quarterback since Alex Magoo and Russell Wilson, that's kind of stunning. That stands out because teams will throw that random 4th-round pick on a guy like Spencer Rattler. If he has to start a couple of games last year like he did for the Saints, the Seahawks haven't. And now we're coming down to a cycle where you're almost in this now or never situation because this is the last push, I think, for John Schneider. He's either going to reaffirm that, this is the direction we're going in, because making a move from Pete Carroll is seismic. We're well past the shock of that, but it is a definitive change in direction, and now this is your path. So it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and we'll know that within the next, 3 to 4 years. So to do a quarterback, you're either ascending past where you've been in this cycle they're trying to break a mediocrity, or you're taking on significant risk that's going to lead you down a path that you don't want to be on, where you're then drafting in the top 10. So the option of a quarterback always stands out there as the most tantalizing thing. And I don't think it's going to happen. All this long-winded way of saying I don't think it happens at 18. but there's enough there to make you curious, right? The Jalen Milroe invite, the conversations that Schneider has had with Wyman and Bob, there's enough there to think, all right, if they're going to do it, maybe they do it now at 18 or like 50 or 52. And that's where, Maura, if I'm being selfish, I hope that Jalen Milroe is still there at like 50 or 52 and they can get him there. Because I would like a quarterback, but not in the first round. So that's what I hope happens in our, perfect fantasy type world draft.
Here's something that we let me play this cut for you. I know we're almost to the break here, but Mike Mayock, who he was the GM for the Raiders there for a minute, was on NFL Network for a long time. He had a pretty strong statement about what it's like in the league if you don't have a quarterback, and depending on what happens with Darnold this year, the Seahawks may be in that boat where they still don't have one.
Really good conversation, and let me ask you guys a question, and I'm going to let you both answer. If Washington had Sam Howell at quarterback this year, how far would they have gotten?
Not very. Wouldn't have been a playoff team.
Okay. So I love their new GM. I think Adam is outstanding. And I love their head coach. Dan is outstanding. And they drafted really well, and they signed about 7 starters in free agency, kind of mid-level starters, right? Mm-hmm. All of which was done really, really well. But without Jaden Daniels, they don't go to anywhere near the NFC Championship game. So my point is, and I've had this conversation with a bunch of GMs and coaches and scouts, and it's kind of like if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're basically just another day closer to getting fired.
Yeah.
So it does feel like there's some pressure there for John Schneider to get a longer-term solution than they've had figured out at that position.
I would be more fascinated with a quarterback at 18 than any other pick because of what it would mean for this year and then the next few seasons for the Seahawks. So we'll see. For the sake of conversation, let's hope it happens. For the sake of being the best team they could be next year, it might not. And then we'll have our own conversations there. But it's something to consider. And the hype's only going to intensify with 6 days until the first round of the NFL draft. A lot still to get to, especially with the Mariners and a big series win. That's all ahead as we continue here on Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mike Greenberg, kind enough to join us.
Do I believe in Sam Darnold? Yes. Do I believe that he will duplicate what he did a year ago? I'm not so sure. He definitely has the talent. He is turnover prone. It is not realistic to think that's going to get coached out of him. But I think he is more than good enough to win with.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Right now, have beautiful, ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay $0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 18 months. Only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
No more waiting. It's time to go all in on that new car. And Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are the dealerships to make it happen. Why? Because they're all in for you. All in on the widest selection of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles with their combined inventory. All in on their amazing staff and incredible showrooms. And all in on setting you up with a test drive so you can take that car home the same day. Go all in, whether you're in the north or the south. Toyota of Kirkland and Renton got you covered. Visit in person today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
Hello, Seattle. It's your friendly neighbor, the T-Mobile Park roof. From up here, I can see it all. Folks pouring in from the street, the sun setting over the sound, the roar of the crowd as Luis Castillo pumps his fist, and the joy of the J-Rod squad as Julio snares a deep fly ball at the wall.
He reaches up with a leap and he makes the catch!
And all the faces smiling with every perfectly grilled hot dog and swirl of soft serve. When the final out's made, I'll be right up here, lighting the W and soaking it all in. Mariners baseball. Trident South.
The Mariners have a great slate of special events and marquee matchups all season long. Bring mom to the ballpark for Mother's Day weekend, May 9th to 11th, including a clear purse giveaway Sunday the 11th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Then don't miss a star-studded showdown against the Yankees May 12th to 14th. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. The ice may have melted, but spring is the perfect time for a new roof. Call Techline Roofing. Take advantage of our easy financing and our spring special. That's TEKLINE roofing.com.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy. You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $3,500 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you have really good leaders, it makes it easy.
Gia arrived at Lee Johnson after 10 years at another dealership.
You know your job, but then you have people who you can rely on to help you with the big stuff that you need that support from. And I've gotten that every day with my service manager, with our assistant service manager, with even like our GM and our GSM. The way that, we're now on the showroom together, we are so close-knit just as a department. My service manager here, he's always open to teach you whatever you want to know. He just wants everybody to do good around him, and if somebody wants to learn something, I'm here to do it. And I've never had a service manager like that before. They're really good at promoting from within. That's one thing that I've learned from working here. I see people start out as a lot porter, and people work their way all the way up to being a general manager.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Mariners have won 3 straight series and 6 of 7 after an 11-7 10-inning win over the Reds yesterday. They're on to Toronto this afternoon. First pitch is at 4:07 in that series. 3 o'clock pregame right here on Seattle Sports. But one of the heroes of yesterday's game, Randy Arozarena, drove in 3 runs, including his game-tying homer in the 9th.
Here's the stretch by Pagan and the pitch on the way. Swinging a well-hit ball. Deep to left field down the line. It is gone. Goodbye, baseball. Yes, indeed, he can tie up the game. Randy Arozarena with a line shot home run. Back-to-backers by Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena. We are tied at 7.
Mariners obviously went on to win after Arozarena drove in those 2 more runs in the 10th. He had the 2-run double. So it's a good stretch for the M's, and maybe it will continue for a guy like Cal Raleigh, who has hit very well in the Rogers Center. He has 6 home runs in 30 career at-bats. So, you can do the math on that one. 1 every 5 at-bats goes to a home run there. So looking good for Cal Raleigh. On the other side, pitching-wise, they used 7 relievers yesterday, so everyone except Troy Taylor pitched. Could be critical for Brian Wu to replicate those 7 innings that he put up in his last start against the Rangers.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Aaron Rodgers continues to be, I guess, polarizing is a nice word to put it. He was back on with Pat McAfee for the first time. It had been 3 months, which I didn't realize, Didn't really miss it. I guess some people did, but he gives us certainly a lot to talk about because it is a hilarious saga. And Rodgers, in his words, broke down what happened with the Jets this offseason.
I figured that when I flew across country on my own dime, that there was going to be a conversation. And the confusing thing to me and the strange thing was, when I went out there, I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. Then he comes back with the GM, and I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, he goes, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released. The messaging. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there.
Guys, how could they? So rude to treat Aaron Rodgers like that.
Who knows what they were thinking, but my take from what he said there was that maybe they thought he was going to come in a little more humbled. And then he even admits that when they were like, do you want to play football? I'm interested. And I think they were like, nope, get out. That's not what we wanted to hear. You seem like the same person that got everyone here fired, and we want nothing to do with it.
Smart, I think. Wow, you don't feel bad for Aaron Rodgers?
You just have to feel terrible for a guy that has a $200 million net worth, and him talking about, I had to pay for a cross-country flight on my own dime. How awful.
And I think a good point.
You don't have points, Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And a good point.
All of the corners of the earth to do ayahuasca retreats. You don't have miles.
I know you guys feel passionately about this one. People have made, some writers who cover the Jets have made the other point, which is a good one, I think, that Aaron Rodgers just loves to play the victim. So had it been a phone call like he was, quote, asking for, then he would have spun it as, well, they didn't have the decency to talk to me in person.
For sure.
Do this face-to-face, man-to-man. So, yeah, either way, you're running into a funny situation. But the Jets have moved on. We know the Seahawks are certainly not going with Aaron Rodgers. That was kind of a thing for, like a day? That was stunning. Didn't think it had any legs to it.
Was it Albert Breer? Yeah, he did say it was between Darnold and Rodgers that they were weighing. So I'm really glad that they went with
Okay, how vast is the gap between these two? Of like, it was Darnold, and then, well, there's another quarterback, but I hope it wasn't like either or kind of situation. I hope it was like, we're confident in Sam Darnold. Maybe we'll just throw it out there that, yeah, sure, Aaron Rodgers could have been.
It was a fun couple days on this show. I'll tell you that.
I imagine it was.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Oh, speaking of a topic that is kind of getting tired and played out, but we still can't quit it. NBA expansion, because Adam Silver just keeps talking about it, never in absolutes, but keeps saying things about potential NBA expansion, and then he always mentions Seattle, so it becomes kind of perk your ears up and hope that maybe there's a definitive answer one way or another. This might not be it, but he was on with Pat McAfee and did mention Seattle again.
We're looking hard at it. We're sort of modeling it, for lack of better terms, in the league office. Look, there's no doubt there's been interest in Las Vegas. Seattle, I've been very public about it, that it was a market that was fantastic for the league, that we left at the time for understandable reasons, but there's no doubt that there continues to be enormous passion in that market for the NBA.
Yeah, so it sounds like they should come back if it worked out well the first time, and it's a passionate city, and now they have an NBA-ready facility. I don't know. That's just me. So we'll see what happens there, but that is everything you need to know. One key piece of news that could help the Mariners, well, they could use it today. That's not going to happen, though. Matt Brash had another scoreless outing in his second rehab appearance. 1 hit and 1 strikeout for Tacoma. He had just 7 pitches to get out of the inning, so he has had 2 rehab stints in Tacoma. They have both gone very well. He's had solid innings both times. We're seeing Troy Taylor kind of get back in there, although his first appearance with the Mariners didn't go well. But that bullpen could certainly use some strengthening, especially because they're very thin this afternoon. They used 7 relievers yesterday, so we'll see how it plays out against the Blue Jays. But one person who could help us with those questions and maybe some discussion on how that plays out, our Mariners insider, Shannon Drayer. She's in Toronto. She'll join us to talk about Cal Raleigh, a really fascinating Cal Raleigh show that they had yesterday. A lot to talk about with that. And this Mariners season. That all comes up next. Mike Lefko here with you on Brock and Salk on the Seattle Sports app and Seattle Sports.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the best April golf deal with 7 prepaid rounds, discounted guest passes, and green fees. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com today to secure yours.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
There's nothing better than having a big fish on your line, and you'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Make moments into memories. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now before you miss out on peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut in May and June. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. Oh, and remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend?
Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Announcing the Million Hour Volunteer Rally. G here, join me, Safeway and Albertsons, and donate your time and skills to support local food banks and host food drives or fundraisers. You can win free groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation to your favorite hunger relief agency. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer to learn more. Find volunteer opportunities and log your hours. 1 million hours will help create food secure communities. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer.
My teacher is the best because she gives us pajama day.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, sponsored by WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
This summer, make sure your roof is ready for the season ahead with a company you can trust, like 3 Tree Roofing. We're not just your roofers, we're your neighbors, and we're here to help you protect your home this season. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free on-site estimate and get your roof replaced before the summer rush and potential material price increases. Our certified technicians make your roof replacement easy and worry-free, so you can focus on the important things this summer. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free, no-pressure estimate. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Well, it's been a great Friday so far. Of course it is, after a Mariners series win. And in that fashion, very entertaining back and forth fashion. And it gets even better now. Our Mariners insider Shannon Drayer is with us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Shannon, I have a very important question, first of all, for you. Is Cal Raleigh there? Was he allowed into the country?
As far as we know, I can tell you, after the playoffs, he was, when we were leaving here to go to Houston, he was one of the ones who was pulled aside. They, randomly, in quotes, select people for extra checks. And, of course, it was him. I don't think any of the bats were confiscated, but yeah, he you know how you talk about, oh, this guy's a Mariners killer and whatnot. He's the Blue Jays guy, and he gets booed. It's kind of fun to watch.
Well, I like that you referred to him as a villain, jokingly, obviously. So on the episode of the Cal Raleigh show that aired yesterday, that's now up on our YouTube page on seattlesports.com and kind of all social media platforms, it was jokingly, but you're right. I mean, he does so well against the Blue Jays. I mean, what have you seen out of Cal there against that team that has made him so good against the Blue Jays?
Well, sometimes it just might be timing, and it might be where he is with his swing and, how he's going at the time. And there are also times when there are just certain buildings, certain places you feel very comfortable in. Maybe you see the ball a little bit better there. And I think it's kind of a combination of all of that. I mean, dramatics in a playoff situation, big situations, he's kind of always, that's been his thing. So I think it's just all kind of folded up into one little, this is his spot. This is where he hits very well. This is where he loves to crush the dreams of Blue Jays fans and have a good time with it. So it certainly is a place. And, he mentioned on the show, well, I've got great memories there. And a lot of that is the postseason. It's, that was just a really, really fun, it was only 2 days. It felt like it was a week, but those games were a blast for these guys. The outcome, obviously a lot of fun. The excitement level that they remember from that, I think that kind of sticks with them, those that were there.
Shannon, what are you seeing with Randy Arozarena in late game situations? Because now it just seems like time and time again, he has had something, whether it's that presence, whether it's that comfort in a moment like that. Again, yesterday, the game-tying home run, and then the huge at-bat in the 10th to bring in a couple more. What about Randy makes him good in these situations?
Well, I think he's just, a lot like Cal. He's one of those guys. Like, I'll throw in JP defensively. We've seen him make some tremendous defensive plays in the ninth inning all season long. There's just something a little bit extra sometimes for some guys in the key situations like that, particularly late in games. There are some things that you could look at. You're going to approach a reliever differently than you are going to approach a starter. And Randy is not afraid to go up there and take a big swing at the appropriate time. And quite often that is laid off of a guy that's, throwing 95 plus saying, hey, maybe I can get this by you and challenging. And he's up for that challenge. I also think that he's very aware that that's the time. I think he's very situationally aware of this is what we need at this point, particularly late in the game. And I think possibly early in the game, it's a little bit more feeling it out. It's a little bit more for him. And perhaps he's not trying to do big things as much because they're not as needed. What's needed at that point is to hand that bat off. I think there's really great court awareness for him in where he is in the game. And, it's a blast to watch. And then what always comes with it, too, is then he is turning around to his teammates, let's go, firing them up, kind of making sure they understand this is where we're at. We can do this as well.
Such a fun series offensively for a number of guys, Raleigh, Arozarena, and then Ben Williamson, who made his MLB debut. And, hey, he came through in a big spot yesterday as well, 1 for 4, scored a run, and he drove a run in the other day. I know it's a lot to ask guys to come up and succeed right away, but in this very small sample size, what have you liked about what Ben Williamson has done?
I like how he's handled himself, and he hasn't strayed away from what he has been in the minor leagues. And, for a guy that was overwhelmed by interviews in spring training, I think he said he did his first interview in spring training. He doesn't seem overwhelmed in the field or even at the plate at all. He seems to have the ability to lower his heart rate and, just really kind of focus in on what his job is in any given minute. I like that he can run a little bit as well. So I think it is an absolute, this is a huge plus that he has been able to come in and off the bat just be able to have some success so he doesn't have to worry about those things. He doesn't get to the point where he's pressing about his first hit or his first RBI or anything like that. And that's a nice setup for him. But, he's a guy – I kind of maybe compare him a little bit to Brian Wu in that he was really a late bloomer. He went to a small school. He wasn't expecting to be a professional baseball player until perhaps his senior year in college. So there's kind of been a real progression, kind of slow and steady, but in a smaller, it hasn't been, travel team since you were 12 years old or 8 years old or whatever it is now. I think that his process has probably been set a little bit later in life, a time when he's a little bit more mature, a time when he understands it more. And I think that there is, even though this is all brand new to him, and even though, he saw the field at T-Mobile Park for the first time when he was called up. He'd never been there before. He walked into the Mariners clubhouse and saw his name on a big league locker and then turned around and saw the field for the first time, walked out there. That's pretty big stuff, yet he has remained calm with it. And I think that's a part of who he is or who he has turned himself into as a player. And one of the intriguing things about him, because of kind of the later start at the level that he is at, I think he's probably still developing a little bit. And because he's having great at-bats, not just good at-bats, he's swinging at strikes. He's not. It's just a couple of hits, but you're not seeing him take wild pitches. You're seeing him have the ability. He's not squaring it up, but he's fouling it off, and he's giving himself a chance to get that pitch and get it the next time at the very beginning. I think that there's a good chance that he is one of those players that will be able to continue to develop nicely at the big league level.
Shannon, it's funny hearing you talk about Williamson and the interviews and how that's so new for him. I can't help but think about Cal. And I'm sure you remember his first interviews. They were just, monotone, one-word answers. And now to see someone like Cal Raleigh have his own show, to be a commercial star as well. I mean, he's in every commercial on these Mariners TV broadcasts. He's doing a show with you every week. Just when you look back at Cal Raleigh's growth and emergence as kind of this face of the team production-wise, then off the field, what does that say to you about what's still possible with him?
What really impresses me about him, and I think in the minor leagues, there were a lot of things that he had to go through which are probably foreign for him because he's always been the best. He's always been in control, before he get, in high school and college. And then you get into professional baseball, and that's probably the first time you're really challenged by those around you who are like you. Everybody is like you. Everybody is there. And he had to learn how to better communicate with his pitchers. He had to learn how to kind of better sometimes regulate his emotions when it came to that. Obviously, things on the hitting side, the defensive side, things like that. And I think he got most of that knocked out while he was in the minor leagues, and then was able to step up to the big leagues and start to become the player that he had always envisioned for himself. I've got a post that's coming out later today. We had Andy McKay on the roundtable yesterday on the pregame show, and he has known Cal since the day he hit this organization. And he kind of outlined some of that stuff and gave his thoughts on why he is able to do what he is doing right now. And that'll come out in probably about 2 hours. And they were really, really interesting comments from somebody that was there. But the thing that really strikes me about Cal, he's always been very in control. But over the last few years, I've learned that he is somebody that really structures his time, his day, and makes sure that he has enough for everybody and himself to get everything done. And what was really interesting about that last Cal Raleigh show was the first two, we're going to tape these once a week. They're taped ahead of time. I'm willing to come in whatever time it takes to get these done. For a day game at T-Mobile Park, I'm going to be there at 1:30. If I need to be there at noon, if that's best for Cal, I'm not getting in the way of anything. He kind of insisted on doing these at 3:30, right before batting practice. And I didn't like that because things were going. He was kind of in his game mode. I want to get into the personality a little bit. I want to get into his day. And they just kind of felt like normal pregame interviews. And I'm like kind of hoping, let's push this earlier in the day. Let's push this earlier in the day. I don't want it to be something that he has to worry about is coming up or kind of that's just put between things. The one that we did in Cincinnati, we did at the very start of his day. I said, can you do it at 1:30? I'm like, sure, no problem. Show up at 12:30, make sure everything's good. And he comes out, and rather than being dressed for batting practice, you saw he was in his sweats. This is, I don't know if this is what he wore to the park, but this is what he put on, when he got to the park. Had a big cup of coffee in his hand. This is Cal, relaxed, hours before the game. And, there was no rush in the interview. He was very open with it. And then I suspected he would do this. But when the interview was over, picked up his cup of coffee, walked out to the outfield, went and talked to Perry Hill for a half an hour. That was his time to go out and, standing in the outfield with Perry Hill, coffee cup in hand, in his sweats. That is his time. He's, checking in. I'm sure he had good questions. I'm sure some of it was just, kind of shooting the breeze and talking. But he kind of made his rounds. And I think that just knowing that he can get everything done and taking the time and kind of balance everything that he wants to balance. He doesn't have to take on the leadership that he does, but he wants that. That is, something I think that drives him. It's a part of him. He wants all of that. It is so impressive, and we have seen it almost from the time he hit the big leagues. Once he kind of got things figured out that he was going to stick and offensively, and this was going to be his pitching staff, he got that. It extends to the team. It extends to the coaches. It extends to everybody in the traveling party. He makes sure to say hello to everybody every day. He does a Cal Raleigh show. He wanted to do that. He wanted to make himself more accessible to the fans. He's just really impressive. And it's not easy, obviously, to do everything that he does. But he has such commitment for it, and he has such commitment for his baseball and for his team. You don't see that very often at that level.
Yeah, some interesting conversations that you guys have gotten into as well. I was fascinated by the bat dissection of how he broke down why he uses one compared to the other, the birch with the torpedo bat for batting lefty, the normal maple batting righty. I learned a lot more about maple bats than I ever thought I needed to know or knew. So that was a great piece of information there. I'd recommend going to watch it on YouTube, wherever else you can find that on our website as well. Shannon, one quick question, though, about this series before we let you go here. The bullpen obviously taxed yesterday because it went to extra innings. You had to use 7 relievers. How much does that put on Brian Wu, and what are your expectations after his outing's done, what we might see out of the bullpen today?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of bullpen that's available, and I don't know if there's anywhere they can turn for more bullpen at this point. They're going through it way too quickly. The starters have got to get deeper in games or maybe even have to be allowed to pitch that extra inning. I understand why Bryce Miller was taken out early in his game. You know, he was coming off some soreness the week before. He was on regular rest, which they haven't been. They've been mostly on an extra day's rest. That's fine. But Brian Wu, you brought Emerson Hancock in so you could push Brian Wu and those after him and get them that extra day. Wu's coming off an appearance that was absolutely stellar against the Rangers, 7 innings, 1 run, but 91 pitches. Had they not put Emerson Hancock in yesterday, I think Brian Wu would have been on a, much lower pitch count. I think you can let him go a little bit today, and they're going to need that from him. It's they've got to get things figured out because this is just far too many times that they are going through too much bullpen. And starters can help. I kind of question if maybe a long reliever could help. If you had a true guy that if you do get into a situation where you do need 3 innings or maybe even just 2, rather than what they've been doing is just we'll pitch everybody 1 inning, and hopefully that's not too much. You've got guys, just far too much bullpen usage early, and hopefully that gets straightened out by the starters going a little bit deeper, but if not, they might need to look at a different situation. And can I just throw one thing out about what this Mariners team is doing right now offensively?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You know, all the consternation about where they were offensively. Right now, for the season, they are 13th in WAR offensively, 12th in WRC+, 13th in WOBA. They're up to 24th in average. We'll take that. 13th in on-base percentage, 13th in slugging. Huge for them. First in stolen bases, 3rd in base on balls, 6th in home runs. And for the week, they're 1st in WRC+ stolen bases, 2nd in home runs in WOBA. They have been swinging it.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Shannon, thank you. We appreciate the time, and I guess we'll hear from you again at 3 o'clock for the start of pregame coverage.
Yeah, right. Never enough of Shannon, right?
Never enough of Shannon. That's great. The Cal Raleigh Show, this interview, pregame coverage, it's all rolling along here. But, yeah, thanks, Shannon. We'll hear from you later.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, so some good Mariners conversation there. We will get right back to the Mariners conversation a little bit later in the show, but right now we have a better fill-in. I'm just going to say we have a better fill-in for Brock Heward. It's time for Blue 88.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Heward breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
See, I prefer the other BH initials, not Brock Heward, but Brady Henderson, who joins us for Blue 88 now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Brady, my actual first question. Hey, how's it going? How are you this morning?
Is that one of the 3, or is this
that's 0.5. We're not there yet. We're not to number 1 yet.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
It's great to hear your voice, to have you out here. It's going to be paddleboard season soon, so I might be zipping by at some point, but I don't know if you have to worry about that yet. So just fair warning on that note.
I'll keep the fridge stocked. I'll keep the blinds closed too, so you can't see me. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, actual question number 1 here, Brady. Let's just get right to it. Who do the Seahawks pick at number 18, or do they even pick at 18? Could a trade be possible, one way or the other?
A trade is possible, and as we all know, anybody who has followed them in the draft knows that they have traded down in the first round quite a bit, really throughout the draft, but especially in the first down. And the idea is for them, when they're picking in the middle or sort of in the teens in the first round, a lot of times they run into situations where there is no longer a guy that they have a first-round grade on who is available at that point. So they figure, okay, the guy that you could get at 21, say, is comparable player to the guy you could get at 31. So you might as well trade back a little bit. So there is a very real possibility of that happening again. I think what's interesting about this year and maybe the last few years is John Schneider told us at the owners' meetings a few weeks ago that the trend has been that there has been, not as many teams are willing to give up as much as they used to in trade-up situations. So in other words, the benefit of trading back hasn't been as great because teams aren't willing to give up as good a draft picks in order to move up. And you always have to find a trade partner. You can want to trade back, but you got to find a trade partner to do that. So I think there's a very real possibility that even if they don't necessarily want to pick at 18, they end up doing that. And for their sake, they need to hope that there's an offensive lineman that they really like at 18, as opposed to some guy that, they would like to trade back and take. I think Gray Zabel could be one of those guys. He's a small school guy coming from North Dakota State, and he's going to be switching positions. So that may be a guy that they really like, but would much prefer to take it, 25 as opposed to 18. So we're doing our mock draft today. I'm going to give them an offensive lineman, depending on who's still available by the time they get their pick at 18. I'm going to give them an offensive lineman. I'm just not positive there's going to be one of those guys who's there that they would prefer to take at 18 as opposed to somewhere later in the first round.
All right, number 2. Brady, we were talking about the offensive line there, but where would you like to see the Seahawks add on defense?
Yeah, I think edge. And I know Brock and Salk had this conversation the other day, and I agree with them. And I'll borrow Brock's analogy about a pitching rotation. I think they've got a lot of really good number 2 and number 3 starters. If you talk about their edge rotation in terms of pitching rotation, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, those guys look like really solid number 2 starters. DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu, kind of same thing. I think DeMarcus Lawrence, at one point in his career, that guy was an ace. But at this stage of his career, 33 years old, whatever he is, Uchenna Nwosu is still under 30, but he's been battling injuries the last few years. I think at his best, he still might even be a really good number 2. You need an ace. And is that guy available in this draft? If you're picking in the top 5, yes, Abdul Carter very much looks like that guy. I think Jalen Walker may be that guy. So Abdul Carter is not falling out of the top 5. Jalen Walker, we'll see. I think he could be kind of a wild card in this situation. And if somehow he falls outside of the top 10, I don't think he's fallen to 18, but if he somehow gets within striking distance, and that's a player that maybe they could trade up for, I think he could be that ace. But beyond that, it really doesn't seem like there is that guy. It seems like you've got a lot of number 2 guys, which again you already have. So that would be the other first round pick on defense I could see. I don't think it's likely, because I don't think there's a lot of obvious upgrades unless there's some way where Jalen Walker gets to within striking distance for them.
All right, number 3. Brady, the Seahawks were very excited to bring back Drew Lock. John Schneider talked about him yesterday with Wyman and Bob, as did assistant GM Nolan Teasley. But now you have all these quarterbacks right behind Sam Darnold. So you have Lock and you have Sam Howell. How do you see this backup quarterback battle shaking out?
Yeah, I don't anticipate Lock and Howell both being on the team. And I know that they are prepared right now for the possibility of those guys to battle it out. But I think if you look at the Lock contract, they guaranteed him, I think a couple $1 million on that contract. We also know that, frankly, Lock is a better quarterback than Sam Howell. And they wanted, if they had it their way, they would have kept Lock last year, but he got a better opportunity from the Giants and he took it. And Sam Howell, frankly, struggled pretty badly, not just in that, relief appearance in December, but I would say throughout the entire offseason and training camp. Was not as good as they hoped he would be. And so I would anticipate that right now they are prepared for the possibility of those guys battling it out in training camp. And I do think that if it came to that Locke would win that job. But I could also see them trying to trade Howell before it even got to that point. And, maybe there's a team out there that, doesn't get the guy that it wants in the draft, and maybe either after the draft or maybe even going into day 3 of the draft. Maybe there's a trade to be made there where you pick up something. I don't think he would have a ton of trade value coming off the season that he had, but he is still a 24-year-old former starter and a guy who, if you remember what John Schneider said last year, remember they had to beat out, I think it was 3 other teams that were trying to trade for him. So as recently as a year ago, this was a guy that several teams were interested in. Maybe there's not as much interest. But maybe there still is enough interest to get some sort of late-round pick where you could get something for a guy who, again, I think if they were to play it out and let those guys compete for the job, I think Locke would win it. And I don't know if they would prefer to keep 3 quarterbacks. So I would think that they're at least open to the possibility of trading Sam Howell right now.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating the Sam Howell era? Because they traded a good amount of draft capital to get him, and now it really never fully took off here. Just it's going to go down as kind of a fascinating little QB footnote, I guess, for John Schneider.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the draft capital that they gave up, remember there was a bunch of picks swapped. I think it was 4 picks total swapped. If you add up the point values, obviously depending on which chart you look at, I think it's fair to say they gave up the equivalent of a mid-round pick, probably like a late third-round pick. So not nothing.
Right.
I think it was a worthwhile swing to take on a guy who would still had some upside as a young former starter who was put in a bad situation the year before and, still had 2 years left on a very inexpensive rookie contract. So it was a worthwhile swing that, just didn't work out.
Well, Brady, this was a lot of fun. The weather's great, so I can only imagine there's some golf in your forecast today, or I hope. But thanks for joining us for a few minutes, and enjoy the rest of your Friday.
All right, you bet, Mike. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, that is Brady Henderson there on Blue 88. Tell Brock that Brady did a better job than he would do. So we're just gonna put that out there. Am I a little bitter that Brock ditched me here on this Friday? No, not at all. I mean, he was so excited to hear some of the stories I had. I was as well, but we'll put that off for another time. We have a lot to get to coming up over these next 2 hours, including some head-to-head comparisons to make. So we're going to talk draft, Mariners, everything, some grab bag kind of situations. G. Scott will join us at 8:30. He's already roaming around, waiting to come in early, but we'll push that off till 8:30. And then Stacy Rost will join us at 9. So a lot still to get to here on Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Ready!
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
No more waiting. It's time to go all in on that new car. And Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are the dealerships to make it happen. Why? Because they're all in for you. All in on the widest selection of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles with their combined inventory. All in on their amazing staff and incredible showrooms. And all in on setting you up with a test drive so you can take that car home the same day. Go all in, whether you're in the north or the south. Toyota of Kirkland and Renton got you covered. Visit in person today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. It's the PBR Tacoma at Tacoma Dome, Saturday, April 26th and Sunday, April 27th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster and PBR.com.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Through June 23rd, get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data. Plus, get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all for $40 a month for 1 year. And ask how you can get a free 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply with paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Xfinity Internet required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year, rate increases to $70 per month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual fees vary and not guaranteed.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to accuse you of management.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
Hello!
We got the Friday Friends crew in today. That's what we're calling it, right? Mike Lefko. We got G. Scott coming up at 8:30. Stacy Rost at 9. Lyle's here. Maura's here. Did we determine, is there an official title? The Friday Friends? Like, we should have music for this, like an official open. What are we going with? Like, Friend Friday?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we have coming up. I thought, you guys do this every
Friend
Friday.
Day.
I'm popping in Friend Day. Okay. And I like a recommendation here on the text line. 206 says, someone should bring you guys donuts for showing up. I agree. Thank you, 206. And we're going to actually get to that because we have important discussions to have here. We're going to do a little which is better. Now, my question is, before we start, can I win this game?
We've been through this, Lefko. Why do you know? It's
Maura,
it's your opinion.
Everything we do, I need to win. So there's no winning? Okay.
Well, if you have better opinions than we do, I guess you could call yourself the winner.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's start out with the which is better here. We've all kind of come up with a bunch of topics. The music is fantastic. So I'm in the mood. We're ready to go here. So speaking of donuts, which is better, free pizza at work or free donuts at work? You had to know I was going to start with a food one, by the way. There's sports questions that we could do, but no, food we're going to start out with.
I mean, these do seem to be the most common things that show up at work, right?
Yeah.
I think G's got an opinion here. G's in the background yelling, pizza, of course.
Pizza, okay. I thought I was going to say banana bread.
Yeah, we do get a lot of free banana bread because G's wife, Lillian,
Yeah.
makes some amazing banana bread. I maybe it's because I work the morning shift, but I'm leaning towards donuts.
Lyle's about to say neither. You got to pick one of the unhealthy options. Come on.
No, I'll say pizza.
Yeah, I'm going to say pizza as well. More, are you telling me you wouldn't eat pizza if someone brought it in here?
Oh, of course I would.
At 7 a.m., I could house like 5 slices of pizza.
No.
That sounds amazing.
There was one year at training camp where the Seahawks had a sponsorship going. I don't want to say the wrong place. I think it was Pizza Hut. But someone kept bringing a pepperoni pizza by every morning and sitting it on the desk while Clayton and I were doing our show. And Clayton hardly ever ate. He never ate lunch. He had coffee for breakfast. And so a fresh hot pizza would just be sitting there. I could smell it. And then I'd start eating it. And I was like, it's 10 a.m. and I'm eating pizza, watching these elite athletes work out. And I feel horrible.
Stuffing your face, trying to criticize them. Yeah.
I feel like when a box of donuts is brought in, that means everybody probably has one. If there's pizza, you can eat like 5 slices.
Or degenerates cut them up and leave awkward chunks of donuts. So, yeah, pizza's the way to go. Pizza all the time. Okay, this is an interesting one because it kind of relates to a prospect that we've talked about, Jalen Milroe. And he's been invited to the first round of the NFL draft. So which is better, NFL draft party or NFL draft at home? Like, would you rather go to the draft or would you rather be at home watching the draft?
I'm going to Radio City, well, it's not in Radio City every year anymore.
Green Bay this year, Titletown.
Right. It's in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But I guess I always think of Radio City when I think of the draft because it's such an iconic setting. Anyway, if I had one chance to be a part of the NFL draft, yeah, I'd go to the location. I'd want to be a part of it.
What if you were a big faller, though, and you had to sit there and the cameras are on you all night?
Will Levis.
Will Levis is the trademark example, and I think that's why everyone's wondering why Milroe was invited, because if you don't get picked in the first round, even if you're picked 33, like Will Levis was, that's a whole nother day that you're coming back and sitting there waiting to get drafted.
I guess.
Can you handle the scrutiny?
But is it really scrutiny? It's not like,
You'd have all your people texting you, blowing you up. Like, hey, look, here's your face. Hey, look, they're showing you again. Why are you sweating?
2 months after that, everybody will forget about it. And then for you, once you get drafted, you still get to walk down the tunnel and go up on stage and see all the fans and pump your fist. I'd still do it.
You want to hug the commissioner. Okay.
No, actually, I don't want to hug the commissioner at all, but I want to do everything else.
Maura?
Oh, I think a party at home with your friends and family after working that hard and waiting for that moment. I think I'd prefer that. And yeah, I would not like the nerves of the waiting unless you know you're going to be a for sure first round pick.
It's funny because there used to be a compilation where people would time out the length of the hugs that all the prospects would give Roger Goodell, set it to a music montage, and they'd have like the range of very short to like 8 seconds long. And it's just hilarious. It would time the second they would like go, and you'd have the big lineman that would pick him up into like this bear hug.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of made Goodell a little more personable because he is this charmless robot at times, but
very much.
Yeah.
I think I just rethought my answer though, because it's hard because I'm thinking about all the men in the draft, but I was thinking about the WNBA draft the other night, and I do love a dress up moment.
I was about to say,
I
you
might
could
want to
go all
go
out.
for the simple fact that you can get so dressed up and get your hair and makeup done, or for the guys, get whatever fancy suit you have in mind. Get like screen prints of something on the inside of your jacket. There's some fun moments there.
I don't think I'd be stylish enough to pull off whatever custom suit was designed for me. It would be a lot of
Pay a
fun.
stylist. These guys have millions of dollars now that they're coming into the NFL with millions of dollars.
I think I would go stay at home unless, you're like a surefire guaranteed top 5 pick. Because the slide is just the worst. We love talking about everyone's boy, Aaron Rodgers. He was the prototypical, before Levis, he was the prototypical, here's the draft day faller. Because he fell all the way to the late 20s, so you're sitting there for an interminable amount of time. And then, if you don't even get picked in the first round, it's just misery. And those rooms inevitably look like the most uncomfortable rooms. Like, they're not real green rooms like you'd have for a concert where artists are performing and they get to hang out backstage. They're just at like a circular cafeteria table and this uncomfortable chair, and they're just scrolling on their phone all day. So I'm going to hedge on my answer there and say top 5, I'm going. Anything else, I'm just going to sit, hang out. You can stuff yourself with food. You have all the pizza you want when you're at home because the camera isn't on you until it gets close to being drafted. So we have that for our little which is better. All right, let's get into some more draft conversation here. Don't let Brady Henderson skew your thoughts here on this one. Which is better, Kelvin Banks or Gray Zabel? Because Brady just had a pretty passionate defense of Gray Zabel about why he's going to mock him to the Seahawks.
He did, but Matt Miller has given the most compelling answer of any of these three guys, or I guess in this case, two guys, that I think I've heard. Because he said if Kelvin Banks was still there at 18, he would run to the podium with that pick, is what he said. And when I hear that, yeah, I think I like Kelvin Banks.
But this is that time of year where you start to hear all the conflicting opinions, and it rings in my head that Daniel Jeremiah said he didn't think Kelvin Banks finished plays enough. And I don't, with all the problems they have on offensive line, if there is any kind of effort question, I'm going Gray Zabel.
Okay. I'm going Kelvin Banks as well. Big time player, big size-wise, a guy who's an established tackle. You could put him at tackle. You have some questions there on the right side, or, move him inside to play guard. So I would say Kelvin Banks as well. But I wanted to rush through all that to get to the most important one. Which is better, pickleball or some other less fun activity?
Let's go.
Hey, this is relevant. I mean, the top story on ESPN last night. Maura, you sent this out, and then I had already read it, but then I clicked to see where it was, and it was on the website. A long feature by Jesse Rogers on pickleball and baseball, how they have merged, how baseball teams love playing pickleball, and he went behind the scenes with the Dodgers and the Rangers and a few other teams. It's a thing. It's
I know
great.
it's taken over.
It's taken
but
over.
I can't tell you which is better because I've never played pickleball.
What?
Sorry.
Oh, my gosh.
Lyle, have you?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it's fine.
Gosh. I can't do the rest of the show.
I mean, Maura knows if I have to pick any racket net sport, ping pong.
Yeah.
Well, Lyle grew up playing tennis, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Same
so, I
here.
mean-
So it's the natural move over to pickleball.
Do you not play tennis anymore?
No, I don't play anymore. Pickleball's more fun.
It is less running. I don't play a ton of tennis anymore, but I always did love
It's
it.
sweeping the nation, Lyle.
I know.
You'll
I know
never
it's-
go back once you turn to pickleball.
Again, I've played it like, I'm going to say a decent amount of times. It's certainly more than 10 times, but I don't know. It's fine.
I think the popularity and how intense people are is what makes me scared to do it because it feels like everyone thinks they're like a professional and there's not room for me to just try it for fun.
Well, just play with people who are also trying it. Just play with people who are also casual.
Everyone else has
picking
already
up.
been playing for a while.
Yeah, I guess
seen,
so.
Have you seen how good Golden Tate is at pickleball? Super random, but he's
Really?
like, I think he's good enough to be on the tour. I don't know.
Wow.
He's really good.
All right, so you guys all say pickleball. I do as well. Perfect. Good edition of Which is Better. We have a lot still to get to coming up. G. Scott's going to join us at 8:30, Stacy at 9, and we're going to preview the start of this Mariners series in Toronto. It's a big one. Cal Raleigh has done very well north of the border. In fact, there's a key stat about Cal Raleigh that you need to hear about when he plays in Toronto. That's coming up next. This is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
4! The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the perfect gift for your favorite golfer to welcome back spring. With 7 prepaid rounds at any public Oki golf course location, along with 7 50% off guest passes and unlimited discounted green fees, the Players Card is a must-have. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com today to secure one for you and your golfing loved one this April.
No more waiting. It's time to go all in on that new car. And Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are the dealerships to make it happen. Why? Because they're all in for you. All in on the widest selection of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles with their combined inventory. All in on their amazing staff and incredible showrooms. And all in on setting you up with a test drive so you can take that car home the same day. Go all in, whether you're in the north or the south. Toyota of Kirkland and Renton got you covered. Visit in person today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
This year, tee it up at home with Synthetic Turf Northwest. Dial in your yard and your short game is sure to follow. Synthetic Turf Northwest is your synthetic grass expert. Install a custom backyard putting green or just a mud and mow-free lawn the neighbors will envy. They do it all. Residential, commercial, and turf supply. With locations in Woodinville and soon Fife. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com.
You know, there's nothing better than having a big fish on your line, and you'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Make moments into memories. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now before you miss out on peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut in May and June. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. Oh, and remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Yeah, what you need to know is that the pickleball conversation has set the text line abuzz. Mac and Jack's text line Pickleball is popular because it takes no discernible athletic skill. All right, 914, that's unnecessary. Play singles. You've been playing doubles. That's the problem. JD in the 509, lots of pickleball being played at firehouses, too. That's true. So I walk by Station 18 in Ballard, and whenever they're playing, I just get this big smile. It's beaming with pride on my face because, yeah, it's a popular one. All right, so outside of the pickleball conversation, a lot you need to know about this Mariners series. They've won 6 of 7, including 3 straight series. They begin a series tonight in Toronto. How about Cal Raleigh? In Toronto, in the Rogers Center. He has 6 home runs in 30 career at-bats. We talked to Shannon about this at 7:30. He likes hitting against the Blue Jays. He likes hitting in that ballpark inside. So we'll see if the roof is closed or open this weekend. But Cal Raleigh has hit well there. First game of that series at 4:07, 3 o'clock. Pre-game coverage beginning here on Seattle Sports at 3. For the Mariners, though, the issue is going to be what happens after Brian Wu. So Brian Wu gets the start today. They used 7 relievers yesterday, and if you missed our conversation with Shannon, she did say there really are no other options because you're not going to bring anyone else up. Matt Brash has done well in his rehab stints, but he just threw one yesterday in Tacoma, so he's not close to being back yet, and you literally use every single reliever on the roster except for Troy Taylor. So for Brian Wu, it might be crucial to replicate those 7 innings that he put up against the Rangers. But yeah, first pitch of that series gets started at 4:07.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, there's reason to simultaneously get your hopes up and then be annoyed if you are annoyed with this topic, and that's NBA expansion because it keeps popping up. There are nuggets, there's words here and there that pop up that get everyone excited, especially when Adam Silver says something like this when he was on with Pat McAfee about 2 cities that they have talked about and started to consider when they look at NBA expansion.
We're looking at those markets and others. I think as we get into the summer, we'll get into a more formal process of how we go about doing it. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to expand, but I also think over time, organizations tend to grow. And I look at the success of those markets for other, major league teams now. And, so it's easy to just present a scenario where you can see it working successfully for the league. But I don't want to jump the gun here. We have the 30 existing teams who all need to weigh in.
Yeah, he mentioned Seattle and Vegas as they have. And, Seattle has shown everything they need to, I think. They have literally hosted NBA games here. They've had that Rain City showcase for, the past 3 to 4 seasons. So they've had NBA preseason games here. They have an NBA-ready building. Literally have just hosted multiple NCAA tournaments with the men's tournament here this past year and then the women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8 the year before. So it's a basketball-ready venue in a basketball-ready city, but Adam Silver kind of keeps bringing that up, and we will keep falling for the bit. The hook is out there, and we will keep getting reeled in as long as NBA and Seattle are mentioned. So anytime there's something, we'll keep bringing it up, but that's kind of the latest on NBA expansion from Adam Silver.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
And we don't really even know where to start with this. Aaron Rodgers and his ongoing saga. So the Steelers seem like they're literally waiting on Aaron Rodgers. They do not have a quarterback right now. Mason Rudolph, the only quarterback on the Steelers roster. They have kind of sold out for the hope of Aaron Rodgers being their starter. He talked about a number of things with Pat McAfee, including the fact that supposedly he still wants to play, but also, okay, well, maybe I'll retire as well.
The conversation about where I was at in my personal life, the stuff I'm dealing with off the field, in my inner circle, that has to take my attention right now. And so I wasn't, stringing anybody along. I wasn't holding anybody hostage. I was honest from the jump about where I was at mentally. And some of the constraints that I have in my life right now that have that warrant my attention. So yeah, I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement still could be a possibility.
I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. Okay, that seems like one of those faux enlightenment speeches that when you get out of something like a darkness retreat, then all of a sudden you have that wisdom imprinted on you.
Is that an employee you want at the end of the day, or do you want someone that's like, I'm passionate about this and this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I don't want any part of Aaron Rodgers. And I'm very glad the Seahawks are not part of that. I can't believe that was even a legitimate conversation. we got to call Salk back in right now just to have him talk about his reaction during that time, because during that portion of uncertainty before, luckily, the Sam Darnold thing happened very quickly, which was fortunate, because can you imagine had a potential Aaron Rodgers discussion here dragged out for weeks or even now still? I don't think the Seahawks would operate like that. I think they'd want to have some certainty at the quarterback position, but I can't even imagine what it would have been like had that been a legitimate, feasible possibility. The Gear Show, it might not have existed. It would have combusted, I think. Salk wouldn't have survived. You know this, right? You mentioned that Salk, like, I don't even know the depths of how
the listeners
mad
usually
Salk
have
was.
to tell him.
Yeah.
Like, I get mad about Aaron Rodgers, but the listeners usually have to tell Salk to chill out.
Yeah.
He gets very passionate.
Okay. So we don't have to deal with that.
Could you imagine Salk having to interview him?
Now I kind of want to see that happen.
I compared it to the scene where Michael and Toby in The Office are staring each other down. And eventually Michael Scott's like, this is the worst. This is the worst.
Wait, a Lyle pop culture reference.
I know.
More, I heard those didn't exist. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one, Lyle.
Every now and then.
All right, so we are going to get back to that, though, at 9:45, because you said there was some lingering Here's the Things that deal with Lyle. So we're going to play
most of
kind
Here's
of the
the
best
Thing
of those.
Were messages about Lyle's pop culture knowledge or lack thereof.
Okay.
So since Brock and Salk are out, we decided we can do an all Lyle Here's the Thing today, because we didn't get to do the full version yesterday because of the short show for Mariners.
Ah, right, of course. Wait, Lyle, have you seen Wedding Crashers?
Yes.
Okay,
love it.
good.
A bunch of times.
The first thought that came to mind, Lyle sent some notes for the show very late. I was worried about his sleep, but you sent something about J.P. Crawford coming off a stretch where J.P. Crawford had just been very productive, and my mind immediately went to Wedding Crashers and the thought of, I'm going to paraphrase the exact quote here, I'm sick of your gosh darn negativity. I'm an idea man. Because J.P. Crawford's been productive. You were trying to throw some negativity out there, and that's what I went to. But I'm glad you've seen that movie. So we won't deal with that, but I know we have more to get to with Lyle at 9:45, and your pop culture learning continues. But coming up next, we're going to have G. Scott come in, and I don't know what we're talking about because I never usually do. I believe we'll talk about the Mariners because he is decked out in full-on Mariners gear. So we're going to talk Mariners, and then wherever else the conversation meanders here on Brock and Salk. Mike Lefko in with you. This is Brock and Salk on the Seattle Sports app and Seattle Sports.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
Home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the best April golf deal with 7 prepaid rounds, discounted guest passes, and green fees. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit OkiGolf.com today to secure yours.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. The ice may have melted, but spring is the perfect time for a new roof. Call Techline Roofing. Take advantage of our easy financing and our spring special. That's TEKLINE-roofing.com.
From groceries to home prices, the cost of living in Washington state keeps going up. Now, Olympia politicians are proposing the largest tax increases in state history. Don't be fooled. If taxes go up, we'll all pay even more. Washington needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Tell the politicians no by visiting www.affordablewashington.org. Paid for by the people for an affordable Washington. Top 5 contributors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Amazon.
It's time to celebrate Seattle golf with a community swing event. Tuesday, April the 29th at the Jackson Park Golf Course from 11 till 6. Music on the range, free 10-minute lessons, club fittings, food and beverage specials, bucket golf, and free face painting, a Seattle golf celebration. $25 greens fees after 11 a.m. at Jacksonville, Wright, in West Seattle. Free top tracer at Inner Bay, along with food and beverage specials at all the great Seattle locations. It's the garage reminding you to play the courses, play virtual, play premier.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Bobby, who was hurt riding the bus.
The bus made a left turn, and the scooter that I was on overturned. Ended up having surgery on my back. So I knocked on the door of Warrior Injury Law, and I thought if anyone could help me with my situation, they could, and they did. They everyday people who work for everyday people. I would recommend this company over all the rest.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
LeeJohnson.com is a dynamic research tool.
We want to give the customer enough information to where they don't have to go anywhere else to research any of the questions they have. And if they want more information, we'd love to be there to help. We don't want them to feel like they're dependent on emailing us or texting us or calling us just to get the information they need. So we put it all out there. We call them digital retailing tools, big fancy calculators where you can get in there and change the terms and change the payments and change the cash down. And it'll give you a disclosure of, hey, when you do this, this means here. And a consumer can get on there and do a lot of this themselves. And then if they choose to get us involved, we can actually get involved on the backside of it and help them along the way. We want to give the consumer the same tools that we have and let them understand what we understand.
Yup, that's pretty much what you'd expect. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Through June 23rd, get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data. Plus, get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all for $40 a month for 1 year. And ask how you can get a free 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply with paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Xfinity Internet required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year, rate increases to $70 per month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Access fees vary, not guaranteed.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know, G, I get really relaxed when you're in here.
Wait,
also because the mic fell off, so I'm going to hold it like this for this segment.
Bruh, you broke the mic.
Did I break the mic or did it just fall off?
I mean,
that's a Wyman move.
Your hot takes have been so much that the mic
literally couldn't handle it. Yeah, I mean, we're going to, this is more like podcast style. Yeah. I know you have the reset, so sometimes you hold the mic, you just kind of lean back, like you're going to have a good time.
You really are relaxed when I come in?
No, I was just using that to make a joke, like for the mic falling off. This is not the most professional style. For those watching on the stream, I am holding our microphone, and it always makes me think of press conferences where, there's a press conference set up and guys are sitting in front of the mic. Sometimes athletes will grab the mic, and that's a huge no-no. Never let the interview subject have the mic. We learned that a long time ago. And they sit back and they talk with it. Like Dirk Nowitzki would always do that. Mm-hmm. He would like sit way back and lean and do that stuff.
And you ain't got the microphone no more.
And I'm going to do this now. Right. So I'm gonna hold it like this for this segment. But Yeah, look, you're decked out for those watching. This is full-on Seattle Mariners gear from G. Scott.
Yeah, I learned something from you and Big Cal, you guys' boss. So I was last to know that if you cover the Mariners, you're not allowed to wear Mariners gear. Is that true? I never knew that.
Well, I didn't know that was straight. That's a sports thing. That's
It's kind
pretty
of
much
an
every sport.
unspoken.
Yeah.
It's not like a written out rule.
I think at the setting, you could wear it now.
In the press box. That's what we're talking about.
In the press box.
Yeah.
So I never knew that. So it was seriously, like, I never knew that. I mean,
But that's the same with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't care. I wear Seahawks because I'm not normal. Here's the thing, I'm a fan.
But you work
but
for
you're
the
not
team.
covering the team.
It's a different if
Yeah,
you're a
yeah.
reporter, I think, because you want to
Yes.
seem neutral.
You're not covering the team.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I used to work here at the Seattle Sports Station, I still did the same thing. What I'm saying is I just never knew that. Okay, it's good to learn. Anyways, let's get back to the Mariners. First of all, the Mariners are on fire. I want to ask everyone, are you on the bandwagon now, or have you been all season long?
You're looking right at Lyle when you say that. So
I mean,
you want to ask him, right?
I don't want to put Lyle on the spot. Lyle, are you on the bandwagon right now?
I'm happy that they're winning. I'm happy that they're winning.
That wasn't a question. That wasn't a question because there's a lot of smoke. A lot of people talked a lot of trash about these Mariners out here, right? And people were saying, oh, gee, I can't believe you're going to games now. Gee, of all the teams for you to love, you love this team? Yes, I love this team. I love the players. I love what they're about. I love that you can't talk about any Mariner win without talking about Randy Watson. I mean, Randy Arozarena. So I love it.
I didn't look up who that was. You told me not to.
Oh, you don't know who Randy Watson is?
No.
Lyle, do you know who Randy Watson is?
No.
What?
That boy good, right? There's a movie called Coming to America. Now, I know it was probably made before you were born, but have you seen it?
I've seen it, yeah, but I've only seen it once.
Okay.
A long time ago.
And in the movie, they go and see the talent show, and they see Randy Watson, Sex or Chocolate, right? And then he dropped the mic, too, as well.
Yep,
like you're
there we
doing
go.
today.
Perfect. That should have been, we're bonded now. So
Yeah.
I don't want to admit this. No, I'm proud of my taste here. I more went along the lines of Lyle's reference because I'm a South Park fan. And so when you think of Randy, you think of a different kind of Randy. You a South Park fan?
No.
Oh, Randy Marsh. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll both show each other our respective Randys, and then and we'll be good. But yeah, Arozarena, he's fun. He's a great guy to get behind.
Arozarena, first of all, like I said, every time that dude be coming through, it's number one. But number two, one of the things that I know you guys will believe this. Have y'all seen that dude dress? That dude is crazy swag. Like his man, all the way down from head to toe. Love what he be wearing. Chain is filthy, cleats, all that. I just love watching him. So.
That's why you're a fan, though. He's got style.
He's got style, and like he's a gamer. I mean, I know Kyle Riley's doing his thing, but I just don't think. I think going into the season, most people that talked about Mariners all said, hey, Julio really needs to be going. Hey, Julio needs to be the reason why this team is going to do well. Everybody talked about the bats and everything. A lot of people weren't bringing up the fact that Randy Arozarena is doing what he is doing. You know what I mean? Of course, Kyle Riley right now, what's that dude on pace for like 63 home runs? You know what I'm saying? And so, anyways, I just love the personality of the players. I've fallen in love. I feel like a kid again. Baseball was my first love. So now that I'm going to Mariner games, and I don't know, I think I'm also getting older. You see what I'm saying? What I mean by that is my life is slowing down. I do 3 things every single day. I smoke meat on the Traeger. I watch baseball, and I watch World War II documentaries in history. You know what I mean? Like, and I know there's a lot of people that can relate to that. Like, you start to watch and do different things. And so it's crazy how I'm at this age now where I'm like, oh man, I missed this. This is how it used to be growing up in Chicago, watching the Cubs, Harry Carey all the time. Baseball was my first love, Lefko.
So are you setting your calendar around the Mariners now? Because we got a 4 o'clock game on a Friday. This is a big discussion point. Are you going to go out, enjoy your Friday? Are you going to sit and revolve your social calendar around the Mariners?
So, again, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought up the social calendar. So, when you're younger and you're your 20s, your social calendar can just be Lyle calls you up and say, hey, bro, let's go meet up somewhere, right? As you get older, you all know your social calendar is you go to work, you have your routine, right? Like you have your same routine all the time.
Or you have to make plans like 3 weeks in advance.
You damn right. You know what I mean? Now, today, I do have plans. I'm going to go see my friend's son play baseball. So I'll go to the gym right after work. I get off work around 12-something. I'll go right to the gym. I'll go to the gym. I'll go home. So I do know that I get to have on a little bit of baseball. Now, if I get ready to leave and go to the game that starts at 6 o'clock down in Puyallup, all I'm going to do is do what? I'm going to turn it on in the car. I'm good.
Yeah, have it on your phone. Have it on the Seattle Sports app. There you go. You can listen. Hey, G, did you know that April is National Pickleball Month? Where do you fall along the lines of pickleball?
I think it's cool. I think I love it. I mean, obviously,
We don't have
the state
these two don't like it as much.
The state of Washington. No, I think it is great.
I just don't have any experience with it.
That's fine. It's fun. It's fun to do. I'm gonna stay away from the pickleball. For me, I can't afford to get hurt. Right?
Yeah.
Like if I get hurt, something, I mess up a knee, an ankle, twist something, growing, all those different things. Hey, Lefko, that messes with my job. That messes with my work. Like I can't go auctioneer if I'm messed up. So while I do like it and love it for people, I think it is great. I just can't do it.
Well, you know that the Champions for Change thing this year too. They're not doing basketball.
They're doing
a pickleball tournament.
Yeah.
And Lyle was saying, and then we had a texter verify that Golden Tate's really good. Like he's really good at pickleball. I think we need to see this. We need to send a crew out there. We need to make a video of this Champions for Change tournament.
I'm gonna tell you something. I spent a lot of time with Golden Tate. Matter of fact, I saw Golden Tate down in Atlanta just recently. I hadn't seen him in a long time. Golden Tate, you guys ever have that one friend, you probably do, and maybe it's you, that one friend that's kind of good at everything?
Thank you. Yes, it is me. No.
I'm being serious when I say this. Golden Tate is really good at a lot of things. Basketball, baseball, golf, pickleball. Like the dude is just a full-blown athlete. Like
he was a two-way athlete, or he was a two-athlete sport at Notre Dame, right? Baseball?
Yes. Yeah. No. Golden Tate is no joke. Now, he might do some of the dumbest things in the world when he's not doing sports. That's another story in itself. But outside of that, no, Golden Tate is really good. So, Lefko, you know what, man? I was just thinking, you got to come down to my house, man. I'm going to invite you down to the house. Bar, I'm going to invite him down. I'm going to invite him down. You got to come down.
G's house is nice.
Come down, and because I smoke.
Do you like a fancy bidet? Because you've got that going on.
Okay.
I smoke meat all the time. People are texting in on some ideas. By the way,
they want to know.
It's Easter weekend. I just hit my wife up when I was on my way to work this morning, and I told her to take the beef ribs out. Now,
okay.
Hold on now.
No ham?
No. Ham, no.
Okay.
Ham's busy. Now, if you're listening right now, have you ever had beef ribs?
Yeah. I love food, G. I will eat everything and anything. Yeah. I know, I look like it, right? But no, I eat everything. Maura can vouch for that.
Maura, have you had beef ribs though? So people think like, I've had ribs. No, beef ribs is a huge difference than pork ribs.
Didn't you bring some in for us?
Yes, I did.
Yes, it was delicious.
Yeah, wait, I had some of that. Yeah, they were left over.
That was brisket.
No, not yesterday. I mean, in my life here, there've been ribs everywhere around here.
No, let me tell you something, bruh. I specifically brought
a little bit. Brought for this show. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Beef ribs expensive. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm going to have some beef ribs. I'm going to do that. This is going to be for Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to put them things on. I put my beef ribs. They go about 10 hours.
Okay.
And that's just my hobbies now, man. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars. I don't do all the drinking and all that kind of good stuff. I do that and watch Mariner baseball. By the way, I had a conversation. People got mad at me. I'll ask this. I asked a question. I was asked, what's more exciting in this town, winning Mariner baseball or winning Seahawk football? You have an answer for that, Lefko?
Well, for a long time, I mean, it was Mariners before anything Seahawks, right? We don't have to go back to the poor Dave Wyman years, but that's when the Mariners were very good, and they were good for a while, and now it's been a long Mariners frustration for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so when you've had so much Seahawks success, you want and crave that thing that hasn't been there, and you just it's like that. It's that yearning. You need it. You need to have Mariners success. And so now there have been these teases of being good. There's been the tantalizing possibility. So when you get the taste of that again, like the city erupted in 2022 and came alive behind the Mariners, I think you're waiting for that breakout. So, the Mariners being good would have a bigger impact than the Seahawks.
And of course, you all know, like, first of all, you know my love for Seahawks, and you all know my love for football. But I think in fairness to NFL and Seahawk football, when baseball is played, and I mean, after we get through April, we're going into May, June, we all know that the best weather in Seattle is during this time getting ready to come up. So if you have winning...
I'm about to go paddleboard later. Yeah, I'm excited. It's that time of year.
Wait, you paddleboard?
Oh, yeah.
You don't be scared?
You have to listen to the show more, G, when I'm on. Pickleball and paddleboard, that's like all I do in the summer.
Oh, you do play a lot of pickleball?
Yeah.
And you do a lot of paddleboard?
Yeah.
I heard that's good for the abs. You got abs, bro?
Yeah, not with all the stuff I've been eating. Too many beef ribs. Yeah, this is the great time of year, and baseball coincides with that.
How long would it take you to teach me to
paddleboard?
Yeah.
I don't know. More is a big paddleboarder too. What do you think? You got to balance. Like, that's the thing.
I mean, it depends. If I go into the Sound, like when I lived in Magnolia, sometimes I would just kneel or sit, because you can just use it like a kayak if you want. You still get an arm workout.
Here's what we'll do.
But if you go into South Lake Union, I don't think it would take that long to
We
learn
could
to stand
also,
up.
or Green Lake. There's.
Have you ever done yoga?
No.
I have.
Like, do you have
boats out
decent
there,
balance?
yeah.
No.
Okay, we'll get it.
No, I don't.
We'll get you one of the 15-foot like wide boards.
Yeah, if you have a wider board,
where
it's
it's
easier.
impossible to fall off. Like, girls do yoga on paddle boards on the water on those.
What?
I couldn't do that. But we get you one of
headstands
those.
and everything.
Yeah, we do one of those.
Wait, they
you
do
won't fall off.
handstands?
Yeah.
I bet you the name is Lisa and Becky. Guaranteed.
Spell with an I or a Y?
No.
Well, yeah, if you get a wider board, it's not that
Yeah.
hard to stay on. The more narrow it is, the harder it is to.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what we got to do. You got to get me. Let's go. We gotta get this. We gotta put this on video. You get me out there on the paddleboard. Out there, I'll go out there with you, and I'll even pay you to teach me how to get out there, because then I'll look cool. And then I'm gonna show you some beef ribs. And by the way, people are asking, it's the Dino beef ribs. That's what you want to get, the Dino beef ribs. You get those. And no, you can't. Here's the thing: you can't really get these at the regular grocery store. Sometimes you got to go to the restaurant depots and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, look. I'm a boring dude these days. You know what I mean? Like, my idea of going and having fun would be to go to Blue Max down in Puyallup, to go to the Butcher, or to go to Tacoma Boys, or my new one I need to go to down south is Stewart's. You know what I mean? Down there, I think Stewart's is down in Enumclaw. So that's my life. Let's go. I go to Butcher's and go hang out with my people.
Isn't it quite the realization when you've seen Old School, right?
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Well, Will Ferrell, and everyone brings up that scene where he's describing his fun little Saturday.
Maybe a little Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot.
Don't know if we'll have enough time. That's literally adult life, and I get it. So when you accomplish all those chores and tasks, it's a very successful, productive weekend.
It is. And wait, there's one thing you forget about, and I used to make fun of people that would just look at their lawn and, oh, look at that, and check out your flower beds and all that. I get it now. I don't know what happens. You start getting older and you start just looking at your lawn, and you come home from work and you're like, and then you might see, and then you might be a little lazy, right? Like, there's sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to do anything. But then you might see your neighbor get out there and do a little something, and you're like, man. Can't it's an unspoken thing, like you can't be outdone.
Lawn envy.
Yeah.
Does it get pretty fierce, the competition among the lawn guys?
So here's the thing. In my neighborhood?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me just tell the truth, because my neighbors don't. They don't know. I don't think so, because I be talking about my neighbors and stuff, and I don't think they know that that's me. So I want to just tell the truth, just in case someone is listening and they say, G. Scott's lying to you guys. First, I do have someone come and take care of the grass. That's one. However, I do a little stuff off to the side. So if that kind of makes sense. So I want to be fair and give a shout out.
You have pride in your lawn, but because someone else did it well.
Well, I have pride in my lawn. It's just I'm not dumb.
Okay.
I know that the professionals are going to do it better than me, right? I mean, that's how it is. It's like if you wanted to go a nice dinner, sometimes a nice dinner, well, I'd argue I can sometimes make a steak just as good as but I haven't gotten to that level, so I don't want to lie to everyone that's listening.
Okay.
Are we talking Seahawks too?
Well,
draft?
I by the way,
real quick, I guess this is someone we should shout out because we got like 4 different texts about it. Stuart Smeets and Yelm.
Oh yeah, my bad. So just so you, for all the people stewards down in Yelm, my bad. So the reason why I'm saying my bad is because I just found out about stewards. I apologize, stewards in Yelm. I had not been there. I usually pull up to Blue Max and Tacoma Boys. That's my spot. And then I was told to go down to Stewart's down in Yelm. So I haven't made it there yet. So my apologies. Didn't mean to be disrespectful.
It's getting a lot of endorsements, so it must be good.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and Maura can vouch for this as well, that I am stunned we've stayed so on topic. Because I'm used to you and Brock. And then just the off-topic conversations are flying. Like, we never talk about sports. Yeah. So this is almost shocking to me, but it's it's refreshing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can talk Seahawks. It seems a little too normal.
I mean, what's everybody saying? What do they want the Seahawks to do in the first round? Matter of fact, I had Brandon Mebane on my podcast, The Reset, on YouTube. Check that out. I had Brandon Mebane on my podcast, and man, was I disappointed in his idea for the Seahawks in the first round. I don't know who he's talking to, who he's listening to, but are you all's listeners saying get a wide receiver with the 18th pick in the first round?
The national media is saying that.
This show does not like that take, apparently.
That's what Mebane is saying. Mebane's like, no, you need a big body receiver. Remember, he was over with Minnesota and he had wide receivers and he had Justin Jefferson. I'm like, wait. What? So do you want a wide receiver?
But my response to that is he had protection in Minnesota, too. Like, you need that before you can get it to Justin Jefferson.
That part.
Because he didn't look so good when the protection fell apart.
Yeah. I'm not telling. Look, I don't know what the Seahawks are going to do. Nobody does. But I got to tell you, with all due respect, I don't want to see a skill position in the first round.
What about a defensive skill position? Like a cornerback or a linebacker. So I've swung around to I want defense now because you have a defensive-minded head coach because of the depth the Eagles put together when they won. Yeah. They had waves and waves of talented defensive players out there. And I think McDonald can mold those guys better than, if you turn over the offense, he gives his offensive coordinator autonomy. So you're kind of taking it out of your head coach's hands, which is not the worst thing because you do need offensive skill players. But if you had a linebacker in there or a defensive tackle, or even if an edge slips, so Brady Henderson and I were talking about edge rushers.
I'm sorry.
You want?
No. Check this out. Yeah. I'm not gonna poo-poo the idea of what you're saying about defensive skill position. I will. I don't want to. However, linebacker, absolutely not.
No, I would love a linebacker.
Wait, a linebacker in the first round?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. Now,
I want the best linebacking core in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm just not used to seeing that, right? I'm not used to seeing a linebacker picked up. Look, the last time the Seahawks, and I don't want to say this because sometimes what I say gets back to guys and then they get, gee, I can't believe you said that about me. But the last time the Seahawks took a linebacker really high in the draft was 2009, right? And who was that player? It was Aaron Curry.
Jordan Brooks. This would be a similar kind of thing.
Yeah, but
picking back at 18.
But Jordan Brooks wasn't that high up, and you know what I mean. But okay, how do you think? And then Jordan Brooks isn't here anymore, right?
Right.
So when I think first round, in order for the Seahawks got to win. Like, when that first-round pick is hit, that first-rounder has to be here on contract number 2, which, by the way, they hit 2 years ago in the first round. They hit with those skill guys. I think Devin Witherspoon and JSN will both get second contracts and will be here. You see what I'm saying?
So I want to get into that more, but I don't think we have time for this. I think that goes to more of development, because then the issue after you draft them, how has the development been? The development has been lacking. And if you bring in a defensive guy, I'm confident Mike McDonald could develop a guy into a second contract. But it's going to be, it's going to be someone who aligns with any of these guys.
Right now, I'm just.
You're right, though. It's got to be someone who's here for a second contract,
right?
Because that's how you get your value now.
So, okay, sometimes it is about like, what are my chances? What makes my chances the best, right? So I'm asking you, is it easier to get that guy to get a second contract on a skill position, or is it easier to get that guy to get that second contract in the trenches? I'd argue right now it's easier when you're thinking about an offensive lineman, a Byron Murphy defensive lineman, those things. Like, you are looking at players like that, like you're like, yo, I know these players are going to last this amount of years, right? And I'd argue right now, when you go to Philadelphia Eagles, who won the Super Bowl, A.J. Brown makes how much a year? $30+ million a season. I'd ask you, where does A.J. Brown rank for being the reason as to why the Eagles won the Super Bowl? 4th, 5th reason, right? When you look at the Eagles and you look at how they beat up on the Chiefs. The NFL is a copycat league. You don't think the Denver Broncos went to school after they got skull-drugged by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl when they had the old high-flying offense with Peyton Manning and they're the greatest, all this stuff? When the Seahawks whipped them up real good, the Denver Broncos went to school on that. NFL teams will go to school on how the Eagles beat up on the Chiefs. And how did they beat up on them? Trenches.
All right, I thought you were actually going to walk out, drop the mic. That was a good finish. It was a good topic. G, always entertaining.
We don't need anyone breaking any more mics.
I know. I have to fix this. We have to step aside so I can fix this.
Your hair looks good, man. Who does your hair every day?
Oh, really? I think it looks bad, so thank you.
It looks good, man.
It's disappearing a little bit, so I appreciate that. All right. G's got me feeling good about myself. All right, we got to do this more often. So, G, thanks. It's been fun. We're going to talk more draft stuff. Stacy Rost joins us next here. Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports app.
Breaker, howdy out there, come on. This is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
10-4, good buddy.
On a tear.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers and right.
Behind the red-hot Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Up next, the first of 3 against the Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 4:07, and catch every pitch of every game on the Seattle Sports app.
Need a new roof, but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
No more waiting. It's time to go all in on that new car. And Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are the dealerships to make it happen. Why? Because they're all in for you. All in on the widest selection of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles with their combined inventory. All in on their amazing staff and incredible showrooms. And all in on setting you up with a test drive so you can take that car home the same day. Go all in, whether you're in the north or the south. Toyota of Kirkland and Renton got you covered. Visit in person today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
O'Brien.
4! The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the perfect gift for your favorite golfer to welcome back spring. With 7 prepaid rounds at any public Oki golf course location, along with 7 50% off guest passes and unlimited discounted green fees, the Players Card is a must-have. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com today to secure one for you and your golfing loved one this April.
know there's nothing better than having a big fish on your line, and you'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Make moments into memories. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now before you miss out on peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut in May and June. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. Oh, and remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Whether you're shaping up a small yard or tackling serious acreage, Steel walk-behind zero-turn and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow. Available at participating dealers.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
It's been a great Friday so far. A lot of guests. The Friend Show, right? I'm going to keep forgetting this name 100 times.
The Friend Show.
That's what I've heard that the show is on Fridays. Like, you guys have your regular spots. It's like all the friends are here.
Oh, no. See,
so
here's the thing.
You,
that now
Stacy Rost are here now. Yes,
I don't have a regular spot on Fridays, so maybe I'm
Oh.
no friend at all. Wow.
I thought you were a regular on a Friday. You're a regular when I'm here.
I wouldn't call me a regular. I would say I'm
you
on
stop by a
occasion.
lot. I guess it's not every week, but
Yeah, I'm not a regular
You're
friend.
a
I'm
recurring
an
character.
A recurring character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you'll become like full cast
Yeah,
status.
exactly. It's what we call on Real Housewives a friend of.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
it's so funny because if you go back and look at sitcoms or any TV show and you think like, oh, there's a recurring character, there's these rules where they can't be in more than a certain amount of episodes.
That's me.
So they'll find ways to like not have you on one week, even though you're essential to the plot.
Yeah.
So there you go. You're back on now because you're essential to the plot
love
here.
being essential to the plot.
Yes. And Stacey, that plot is the Seahawks draft that's coming up in 6 days. The
Something
first round.
I'm essential. You can't talk about the Seahawks draft without talking
about
me.
the Seahawks draft without talking about you because you're about to talk about it coming up at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, well, we're actually starting with Mariners, but we will eventually get
In
to
the 10
draft.
o'clock hour.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about it at some point.
I don't know.
No, the Mariners did have a great win. They had a fun
we will talk
series
about
win.
the draft plenty today.
And you weren't on yesterday because the game went so long. So
Thank
that's
goodness for that.
enjoyable. Congrats. That maybe unexpected day
You're
off.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, it was a personal service to me that you
I
weren't
did what
on.
I could for the Mariners yesterday
You
to
sacrificed.
get us this win.
You're like, you know what, guys? Just keep it going. I'll step aside and not have the mic today. But when you look at the draft, 18 is such a fascinating dynamic because there's this looming, yes, the interior of the O-line is such a vast need for this team, but there might be a better player
I hear
at
people
another
are fighting
position.
with you this morning.
I think it's just a general dissension of some people want to take like a linebacker if he's there, but then most are, well, why would you not address the interior of the offensive line? So what do you think when it comes to 18? Is it that, you have to address the interior, or there are other options that could be out there that maybe the Seahawks will take?
I think that there are other options they will take is what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is, we all think like, oh, this is a draft where a lot of people are trading back, but then someone needs to trade up. So if your automatic assumption is, I think the Seahawks will trade back because, this is just a draft where, you're not seeing a lot of movement up. Okay, well, someone's going to want to move up to 18 for that to happen. So I've just written off trade back for that reason. And I think that they're just going to stick with Schneider's plan, go with best available. I don't know that the best available is going to be an interior lineman. It's just typically not what you're going to see, not only in general in the draft with the kind of, I guess, prime positions that you want to. Matt Miller was on with Brock and Salk and had that to say where, like, sometimes you have your premium on these first-round positions because it saves you money in the long run with franchise tags and how much they are. So you want your left tackle, your wide receiver, your quarterback, your edge rusher, whatever. And you can find good guards and good centers on round 2 and round 3. You can find good linebackers in round 2. You can find a good running back in round 2 or round 3. Like, those are positions that kind of get shoved back. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, looking at 18, they go, well, yeah, there's a game-changing wide receiver here. And it ends up being a controversial pick that people get fired up about. But John Schneider makes it because he looks and he goes, I can't pass on this talent. I cannot pass on this talent just for something that I need. He clearly doesn't like being stubbornly forced to spend on the offensive line, so why spend draft capital? However, I think that this is a team that has done almost everything to address their offensive line. Midseason trades, big free agent signings, although not obviously this past season, and first-round picks on tackles. They have not used first-round picks on interior linemen, with Carpenter being the only, I think, or the highest first-round pick that they've used on an interior lineman. So maybe overspending is a solution for a team that's been looking to build up their offensive line for 10 years. Let me check my watch.
The unofficial watch there.
Yeah. So that's my long-winded, too long didn't read answer to say, I think that it would be interesting to see whether or not the Seahawks change that approach and use a first-round pick on an interior lineman. Maybe Gray Zabel's there and they love him, but I'm like quietly not going to complain. Like, I'm going to pretend like, why would they get a wide receiver? But then secretly be really into it if they don't go with an interior lineman.
I think it's more fascinating if they don't go with an interior lineman.
I will say if they take a safety, if they take a receiver, if they take a defensive lineman, whatever, at 18 and get everyone upset, that's suddenly the player I am most curious about. Like, without a doubt in my mind.
What if that's a quarterback?
They won't.
Not
what
at 18?
Quarterback are they taking?
Well, I don't know, because John Schneider said this.
It doesn't preclude us from doing anything in the draft either, And
I'm going to stop right there because I love the word preclude about, hey, we're not necessarily out on a quarterback.
Who are they taking at 18? Jackson Dart? Jalen Milroe.
Jalen Milroe was invited.
Jalen Milroe should not.
He was invited.
To go maybe in the second round. Jalen Milroe.
Would you take him in the second round then at 50 or 52?
Maybe. But then which quarterback here are you getting rid of? You're not working with 5 quarterbacks.
Oh, any of them. That's fine.
I mean, Jaron Hall is going to go to your practice squad. If you try to move Sam Howell to your practice squad, he's going to sign somewhere else.
You can get rid of Sam Howell.
I mean, you can.
You don't need Sam Howell. No offense.
I'm
not to hate on Sam Howell.
I
but,
think that John Schneider desperately would love to have more bites at the apple when it comes to quarterbacks. I don't think that answer is at 18. I don't.
Do you think they have to address it sometime soon? Like by next year, do you think we are finally talking?
Next year or in next year's draft?
No, like this year's draft or next year's draft, will the Seahawks have finally taken a quarterback? Because at some point, this has to happen, right? This has to, you have no long-term solution
unless
at
you're someone who like fundamentally believes, I don't know, Lyle Mora, do you guys think Sam Darnold's the answer? He's only 27. Lyle, that's barely older than you.
No, I think we're the same age.
Oh my God.
So he has a lack of pop culture knowledge also, is what you're saying?
No. Ask Sam.
Yeah, we should. No.
I don't think Sam Darnold's the answer.
I don't either. Lyle?
Yeah, not long term, maybe for a couple years.
Yeah. I think Sam Darnold is an immensely talented player who several years into the league has proven that with all the right pieces around him, he can be solid, really solid. But I haven't seen enough to think, oh, this is a franchise guy.
So I'm kind of curious about a quarterback.
But
maybe
yeah,
these first 2 rounds.
No, I think they absolutely should take one either late this year or maybe a little earlier next year.
Yeah, we'll see. So, okay, future problem, kind of put that back. When you're recurring again on this show, like you are, as the guest regular.
Right.
Next year, we'll get back to this conversation. When it comes to defense, so real quick here, because now you have a show to prep for coming up at 10 o'clock. When it comes to defense, is there a position where you think, okay, maybe we're not talking enough about it being a need?
Oh, yeah. I agree with Salk that it's one of your, in a 3-4, like your equivalent to an edge rusher. Like Boye Mafe, solid. Derek Hall, solid. And then they kind of quieted down. And like for a minute we were talking about like, wow, every single week Boye Mafe is doing something exciting. And then there was really nothing from that group. You have a lot of young, exciting guys. But I think because the defensive line itself with Leo, with obviously Byron Murphy coming into his second season, feels exciting and talented and like you have a lot of questions answered. We're kind of overlooking the pass rush as a whole. But yeah, I think that group. And then even though Tyrese Knight came into his own and surprised me with how much he was able to contribute, and you locked up, Ernest Jones in that role, I wouldn't mind just the front seven as a whole, I think, has some unanswered questions that
Thank you. See, I'm on the linebacker train too.
Oh, okay. What did you guys?
No, I don't think anyone else shares that sentiment that linebacker is important to boost up.
I mean, honestly, you could make the case for anything. Are you going to pay Reek Woolen? No? Well, then you better find a cornerback.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that. Defense actually has a lot more questions than we think because they were good last year, and you have all these guys that are there to pop, but then there's no depth behind them.
The defense's questions are really more like, how do you turn a B- into an A+? Or how do you turn, like, those are the questions you're solving on defense. Or like, how do you solve a problem for next year or 2027 on defense? With offense, it's like, who is your center? Who is your left guard?
An immediate put out the fire. In defense, you have a little bit of luxury of like, how do you remodel the house? The offense is like, oh, let's just put out this burning fire.
Yeah, the offense is like, so where is your house? What house is it that you speak of?
Well put. Stacy, this was great. I know you have a show to get ready for.
Yeah, bye.
You're talking Mariners and then a little Seahawks as we discussed.
No, we'll do Seahawks a bit later in the show. We are going to start heavy Mariners there because it's just so fun. These have been fun games. Cal Raleigh, oh my God, calm down.
Seriously.
You're getting excessive.
Too much, man. Cal Raleigh, 8 home runs already. Wow. No, thank you, Stacy. A lot of fun.
You.
Appreciate the insight. There is Stacy Rost. Yeah, speaking of the Mariners, we have some things about this Toronto series that you need to know. That's coming up next. Mike Lefko in with you. This is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Just in the case of Gino, you make an offer to somebody, and then later he goes and speaks and talks about he felt disrespected. I mean, that's probably not unique either. I mean,
No.
He's entitled to feel how he feels.
Exactly. Yeah, very comfortable the way we handled it. You can't tell somebody how to feel. Like, it's just like any other relationship. Like, it's the way you feel. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. A very handsome reward indeed. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% IRA boost on annual contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been involved in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you with an aggressive team dedicated to securing the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
Hi, this is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. Spring has sprung. Need color to brighten up your yard or privacy trees to keep your neighbors guessing? Now is the time to buy. With hundreds of trees arriving in the nursery daily, Big Trees has the perfect tree for you. Check out our updated inventory list online at bigtreesupply.com or come visit the nursery today.
It's time to celebrate Seattle golf with a community swing event. Tuesday, April the 29th at the Jackson Park Golf Course from 11 till 6. Music on the range, free 10-minute lessons, club fittings, food and beverage specials, bucket golf, and free face painting, a Seattle golf celebration. $25 greens fees after 11 a.m. at Jackson, Bill Wright in West Seattle. Free top tracer at Inner Bay, along with food and beverage specials at all the great Seattle locations. It's the garage reminding you to play the courses. Play virtual, play premier.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Mariners have won 6 of 7, including 3 straight series after the 11-7 10-inning win. And just a routine ho-hum, lose the lead in the 8th, come back, tie it in the 9th, and then win it with a big output in the 10th. 10-inning win over the Reds yesterday, and Ken Wilson broke down what that game and what the series win meant to his team.
There are pivotal points in the season. I think early on that was a pivotal point for us, and this game's going to be a pivotal point. This is a big win for us to get this series and then move on. And again, just these guys, they fight and they fight hard and they fight till the end, and it really feels good to bask in that effort today.
Yeah, one of those that could have loomed as a potential look back on with regret had that slipped away, but instead, Mariners 10-9 on the season. They head into a series against the Blue Jays, where a guy named Cal Raleigh has done very well. And, he only has 8 home runs so far this season, second most in baseball behind not Aaron Judge, who has 7, but Tyler Soderstrom of the A's. The Mariners saw him on the opening weekend of the season. So outside of that guy, who, maybe he's off to a career year, but Cal Raleigh, 8 home runs, second most in baseball. He has 6 career home runs in just 30 at-bats at the Rogers Center. And that's where the Mariners begin their series this afternoon. 4:07 first pitch. Pre-game coverage begins right here on Seattle Sports at 3 o'clock. That'll be Brian Wu on the mound for the M's. And here's the challenge for the Mariners pitching staff. They used 7 relievers yesterday. So every reliever except Troy Taylor pitched in yesterday's win. On Brian Wu to have a good outing. He did put up 7 innings against the Rangers on Saturday. So we'll see what happens after Wu gets done, and then how the bullpen shakes out in Game 1 of this series this afternoon.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
NBA expansion is back on the table. It's on the table. It's something. NBA expansion is slowly, at the most glacial pace you can think of, perhaps progressing. Adam Silver was on with Pat McAfee yesterday, and they got into the topic of NBA expansion. And Adam Silver, once again, threw out some pretty general timelines. But here's what he said when it comes to potentially adding more teams.
We're looking at those markets and others. I think as we get into the summer, we'll get into a more formal process of how we go about doing it. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to expand, but I also think over time, organizations tend to grow. And I look at the success of those markets for other, major league teams now. And, so it's easy to just present a scenario where you can see it working successfully for the league. But I don't want to jump the gun here. We have the 30 existing teams who all need to weigh in.
What's the equivalent of like a deep eye roll on the radio? Just like a loud sigh. I'm trying to show my exasperation, but this is an audio platform. So if you're watching, you can see the eye roll. I tried to do an eye roll, but yeah, I can understand. Like, you guys can understand why people would get a little sick of hearing this, but also just every time there's some morsel out there, you get back up again, you get interested, and then you fall for the bit once more. So until we see an exact timeline, I don't know, but it does seem like every obstacle, every hurdle in the way has been taken care of, because first it was, well, we're going to wait until the media rights deal is settled. All right, that's been locked in. You've had a decade now of media rights that's been settled. All right, well, we have some franchises that need to be sold. Okay, well, the Celtics sale is underway, so those big obstacles have been taken care of. I'm not sure what it looks like. Gary Payton, I'm going to name drop that. I never get a chance to name drop, guys. I'm not like the other people on this show. But when we were at the Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards, I got to interview Gary Payton. And, of course, you throw out there, because he's as involved as anyone, like, hey, what have you been hearing? Are you in the ear of Adam Silver? And he said, you know what? 2028 is a date he would set a kind of tentative plan around, which, all right, we had heard 2026 way back when, but now if Gary Payton's saying 2028, let's believe in 2028 for a potential return of the Sonics, and we'll see what happens if Adam Silver actually drops anything tangible when it comes to NBA expansion.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
I know this entertains everyone here on this show, Maura, Lyle, and myself. Maybe people are sick of it, maybe not, but Aaron Rodgers just describing his offseason. He was also on with Pat McAfee yesterday, and He mentioned the teams he's been talking to in the offseason, and then he kind of broke down, in his opinion, what happened with the Jets.
I figured that when I flew across country on my own dime, that there was going to be a conversation. And the confusing thing to me and the strange thing was, when I went out there, I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. Then he comes back with the GM, and I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, he goes, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there.
Man, Aaron Glenn, laying down the law. How dare he insult Aaron Rodgers and make him fly all the way out there? I know Lyle had an issue with the own dime thing there, which was funny that he felt the need to just kind of throw that in there. Like it was the big sticking point. Had they flown me out, maybe I'd been more receptive to it, but my own dime, no. This is why this won't stand. So who knows where Aaron Rodgers ends up? It seems like it's the Steelers or bust, and for some reason the Steelers are still just waiting on him. And now we've heard more and more Steelers getting agitated with the process. Cam Hayward reported that TJ Watt was a little bit frustrated at what's going on there. So the Steelers are not in a good situation quarterback-wise. And maybe that's why, to tie it all back together, maybe that's why Jalen Milroe has been invited to the draft, because they're going to draft him in the first round. Because right now they have Mason Rudolph and then no one else if you're the Steelers. So Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, or potentially Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe or someone else there for the Steelers. One good piece of good news for the Mariners bullpen. Matt Brash, another scoreless outing, had his second rehab appearance last night. 1 hit and 1 strikeout for the Rainiers, and he had just 7 pitches to get through the inning. So Matt Brash is getting back. He's had 2 rehab appearances, but no set timeline yet on when he might return. Certainly the bullpen could use some help right now. They had 7 relievers go yesterday, and Troy Taylor, the only guy who didn't pitch, he's still returning from that injury, and he had a tough go of it a couple nights ago. So fascinated to see where this bullpen goes from here as we get forward with the first game of the Toronto series and then 3 in Boston for the Mariners. We're going to get into that a little bit more. By the way, did you guys watch the Red Sox documentary on Netflix? Have you seen any of that? I'll play the juiciest clip from it for you guys when we continue here, because if I were some of these Mariners, I would have a lot of motivation going into Boston. So we can talk about that. They're not playing the Red Sox yet. That can also be a Monday conversation, but I'm here now, so I want to talk about it with you guys coming up, and we'll kind of get into what needs to happen for the series win streak to continue against the Blue Jays. That's all coming up here on Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mike Greenberg, kind enough to join us.
Do I believe in Sam Darnold? Yes. Do I believe that he will duplicate what he did a year ago? I'm not so sure. He definitely has the talent. He is turnover prone. It is not realistic to think that's going to get coached out of him. But I think he is more than good enough to win with.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
All right, coming towards the end of the week here, which means you're getting ready to make your weekend plans. Make sure you're thinking about Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets luxury. World-class dining, great restaurants, awesome entertainment. And speaking of that, the award-winning summer concert series is back. Great artists, Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, POD, all this summer overlooking that beautiful Snoqualmie Valley. You can get details, tickets at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest? Well, it's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Seattle. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
4!
The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the perfect gift for your favorite golfer to welcome back spring. With 7 prepaid rounds at any public Oki golf course location, along with 7 50% off guest passes and unlimited discounted green fees, the Players Card is a must-have. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com today to secure one for you and your golfing loved one this April.
You know, there's nothing better than having a big fish on your line, and you'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Make moments into memories. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now before you miss out on peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut in May and June. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. Oh, and remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Goodbye, winter mud. Hello, dream yard. Spring is here. Synthetic Turf Northwest has you covered. No more soggy lawns or weekend yard work. Just green, clean, and ready for backyard barbecues, wiffle ball, or kicking back. Synthetic Turf Northwest, the area leader in synthetic grass, residential and commercial installs, plus turf supplies out of our Woodinville warehouse, and soon in Fife, right off I-5. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com today.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Announcing the Million Hour Volunteer Rally. G here, join me, Safeway and Albertsons, and donate your time and skills to support local food banks and host food drives or fundraisers. You can win free groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation to your favorite hunger relief agency. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer to learn more. Find volunteer opportunities and log your hours. A million hours will help create food secure communities. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Final 30 minutes here on a Friday. It's been a good show so far. A lot of fun. It's Shannon Drayer in at 7:30. Brady Henderson popped in for Blue 88 at 7:45. I think I didn't mean to threaten him, but I think I gave him kind of an ominous warning because it's paddleboard season. And so, Maura, I think you've heard this story. I don't know if Lyle has. The listeners maybe have, maybe they haven't. But I have paddleboarded past Brady Henderson's domain where he lives. And I have seen him in there multiple times. And he's come out and waved and, we've hung out there. But I do wonder if he gets sick of me, now paddling by and trying to see if he's there.
He's like, one of the nice things about living on a boat is people can just randomly show up to you.
Yeah, and it's beautiful weather, and I think this is going to be an attempt at the first paddleboard day of the season. So we'll see. We'll see if Brady's there. I might take a little swing by. But, yeah, thanks to Brady for hopping on at 7:45, and then G and Stacy as well. Those two were not as receptive to your Friends idea, by the way. We didn't even play the Friends music. That's a shame.
It wasn't my Salk calls it Friends. He always says it's a Friend Friday.
Okay. Well, you guys are my Friend Friday. So Maura and Lyle, thanks for helping me out here on this Friday. We're going to get to, what is it? Just bonus, here's the thing, at 9:45, because there's a special Lyle edition.
Yeah, I think we kind of forgot to solicit for Here's the Thing messages as much as we normally do this week because we had a short show yesterday because of the early Mariners game. And that's normally when we do them. But I went through and most of the messages were for Lyle because of his pop culture knowledge or lack thereof. Got a lot of attention. And so we did have a few other ones that maybe we can push to next week because those involve Brock and Salk. But they essentially said maybe we should just go ahead and do the ones that were for Lyle since he's here today.
I like that idea.
We're going to do a little abbreviated version of
a great way to end the week.
An all Lyle edition of Here's the Thing.
He is a little pop culture deficient. That's what's been described to me. I'm not going to say that, but it's been described to me. So we'll give you some more learning.
People have thoughts on it.
Yeah.
If Lefko hosted the show every day, I don't think this would be an issue. He's asked if I've seen Wedding Crashers. He asked about Old School. These things I've seen.
South Park.
I think South Park, Brock and Salk live in a fantasy land.
Yeah, they live in a different kind of time. They live more at a pop culture era of some other people on this station as well. Maybe my show.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I always get called out for my lack of knowledge from some random movie in the 70s or 80s by Wyman and Bob. So, yeah, you know what? That's
Some
fine.
of these things, we'll let you listen to the messages. Some of these things I think you know.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll get to that. I have a lot of Mariners thoughts and stuff to get to, but Maura, you found something that I had not heard that is just a complete contradiction of Aaron Rodgers and what he just said. Shocking that Aaron Rodgers would contradict himself, but what's this
just because
found?
he's whining about them wasting his time. I remembered back to this cut that when he was talking about the Packers trying to re-sign him or figure out what he was doing. I think it was the first season he did his ayahuasca journey. This was back in 2022 on Pat McAfee.
I mean, the members of the coaching staff came out to the house one night. That was an amazing story. We had a good time together, but they basically tailgated on the PCH, waiting for me to get back to the house because I was at dinner with a couple Buddhist friends of mine that I told them was a priority and I was not going to miss this dinner. So they waited around the house for me. I was getting texts from my security guy like, "Hey, there's random people outside your house." I was like, "What do they look like?" It looks like 5 or 6 guys. I was like, "Yeah, they're fine."
So A, he thinks it's funny, he's laughing to waste their time, and B, apparently this is the level of effort he expects from a team that wants him to just, wait around for hours because he has a meeting with some Buddhist friends a dinner with some Buddhist friends that's more important. Just, wait on the side of the highway or wherever he said they... the security finally
So
let
Aaron
him in.
Rodgers is a hypocrite. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's surprising. Shocking. So anyway, that's a fun saga. Maybe Salk can have some of that when he gets back on Monday. But getting to the Mariners, and first, let's kind of get distracted again because you guys, as baseball fans, you need to watch the Red Sox documentary. I'm adding more to your list, Lyle, putting more on your plate here. But it's really enjoyable, the access they have, and specifically 2024, they were following the Red Sox all year. Well, lo and behold, who did they open with? The Mariners. So they spent an outsized amount of time on opening weekend and on that first series. And this was pretty stunning. And it just jogged my memory. We were talking about what's coming up for the M's that, going to play Boston now coming up at the start of this upcoming week. This is what Netflix captured of Andrew Bailey, the Red Sox pitching coach, giving a scouting report on the first few hitters in the Mariners lineup.
First hitter, J.P. Crawford. Attack him. Okay, very, very patient. All right. Julio Rodriguez, very, very aggressive. All he wants is the ball middle. Anything middle. Cambio middle, slider middle, that's all he can hit. Polanco, he's a good fastball hitter. Changeup's great anytime. He wants fastball, so just pick and choose your spots. Garver, very, very passive hitter. Two-seam anytime.
Yeah, first of all, I can't believe that got out, and I'm sure the Red Sox are not pleased with kind of proprietary information coming out there. I don't know if it's anything that people didn't know or think about, especially Julio last year in his struggles and now again. But just to hear an opposing coach say that's all he can hit.
Well, I think they got it right because I don't know if you remember that opening series last year. I think the Mariners struck out 54 times in the first weekend or whatever, 51 times maybe. It was a lot. It was a lot of spin to win with a lot of breaking balls, and it worked.
I'm just hoping they use that as motivation, though. So if you're Julio and you're struggling again, maybe that's the motivation going into the Boston series. But, yeah, that's a future conversation for the start of next week. They have a series against the Blue Jays coming up.
Are they following a different team this year, by the way?
I don't think they're doing it. At least they haven't announced. So when you watch it, you'll see how intrusive it is. Now, it's really impressive, the access they got. And as a baseball fan, it was cool to see. And I learned a lot. There's a lot of good stuff, too, about kind of the behind-the-scenes dynamics, about how a manager has to deal with all these different personalities and what Alex Cora deals with. But it is just so in your face that I can't imagine an organization would like all that. Because, I mean, they're following guys at every moment throughout the game. If you think about any moment of the 2024 Red Sox season, there were some controversies. There was Jaren Duran got into it with a fan. That was all captured. Some tough moments they had there. They even, so back to that opening series against the Mariners, Brian Bayo, the starter, they would follow him right back in up the tunnel where he sits between innings. And they're just sitting there with a camera on him. So I can't imagine any other team would want that. It was like with Netflix with their quarterback documentary. You remember how they did quarterback for a year, and then they couldn't find any quarterbacks who wanted to do it. So they went to receiver. And now, surprisingly, they're back on quarterback. So it sounds like Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins again are part of this documentary that's coming out later this summer. But yeah, I don't think they're doing another baseball team. That's a lot of time. Like we know how long a baseball season is. Yeah. Those Netflix cameras were there probably for 8 to 9 months with them. So that Mariners tidbit was one of, hundreds of maybe thousands of hours of footage they have, but it's a fascinating one. This series, though, against the Blue Jays, today is big. Today is very big. And, Lyle, I know you had some consternation about the bullpen yesterday, as did many people, because a lot of guys kept coming out there, and 7 relievers later, the Mariners find themselves in a bit of a tough situation because you don't have a reliever who hasn't thrown over the last 2 games. So Troy Taylor was the only one who didn't throw yesterday, but everyone else has pitched, certainly within the last 2 days. And I kind of jokingly said this, that maybe that was Dan Wilson and his 162 individual battles, because outside of that, yeah, it was kind of tough to watch and see, well, now what happens moving forward?
Yeah, it was just the idea that, Thornton only threw 4 pitches, Spire threw less than 15, Colin Schneider threw less than 15. But then, as a result, you had to really, really rely heavily on Edward Pizzardo, who threw over 30. It was kind of that idea. You're right, Lefko. They emptied out that whole bullpen.
Well, and I think what I want to see still, and we thought we had this with Spire and maybe Vargas, but now, so for the first time, Vargas threw in back-to-back games and decidedly shaky and more erratic yesterday. There has to be that middle high leverage option before you get to Munoz. So maybe your setup man is Vargas right now, but who's that option in a high leverage spot in the 5th inning or in the 6th inning? Thought that was Gabe Spire, but then Spire came in, just pitched very briefly, 13 pitches. He's been so good this year. He allowed a couple guys, and then that was it. If this is your high leverage guy, I mean, this is a guy that needs to be able to work through the inning and have the confidence in him. So I'm thinking, all right, they hope that's going to be Taylor again because Dan Wilson really used him heavily last year when he took over. Troy Taylor was the high leverage guy in a lot of spots because there was really no bullpen depth. And then Matt Brash. But Matt Brash, I don't think you can count on him for, I don't even want to throw a timeline out there, but a couple weeks, a month even, before you throw him into a spot where you're like, yeah, Brash, go pitch and, free reign there because they're going to be very careful with them. So right now, that seems to be the most glaring issue is that there's no high leverage guy that they trust outside of Munoz day in and day out.
I wouldn't be shocked if Brash throws in leverage when he gets back, but I would say I think where you have to be careful is you can't rely on him back-to-back, and it's probably going to be a while, I would assume, before he can do that. So he might throw on a certain night in a spot where they really need him late in the game, but if they're in a tight game again the next night, I would doubt he's going to be available because when you work back from something like Tommy John, you're just not going to be throwing back-to-backs right away.
Yeah, so today, if the Mariners are in a close game, which... Hey, if you check the schedule, they play a lot of close games. They had that stretch where 13 of their first 14 were decided by 3 runs or fewer. And again, in this Red series, pretty much every game was a close one. So you had Munoz doing what he does, and he has been lights out and automatic. But the last 2 games, a 5-3 win and an 11-7 win that went 10, you had to use your high leverage arms. That just... Hey, you could use a game like that 9-2 win over the Rangers today because even if Wu goes 7 and it's a 1-run lead, I don't know what happens in that 7th or 8th inning. If Wu goes 6 or if he goes 7, who are you turning to before you get to Andres Munoz? So that's going to loom large for me. And then, just lineup wise, we've talked about the inconsistency behind Cal, and then even Arozarena until the late innings, he kind of morphs into a different guy. But right now, there's just a little bit too much inconsistency. And here's going to be my push. I'm going to make the push because I'm here sitting in this studio and not actually managing. I'm going to make the push to move Julio out of that leadoff spot. Just give it a try. I mean, he was 1 for 6 yesterday. You need a guy that can get on base in that situation. It didn't hurt them. You ultimately had your middle of the order come through with Cal, with Arozarena, with Dylan Moore having a great series. But if you want someone who can get on base, who can draw walks and can steal bases, I mean, Dylan Moore has struggled against righties, except last series he was good. So maybe this is a situation where until Julio finds it or stabilizes it, you put Dylan Moore in there. Because I don't know. I don't know if you guys think there's a better option than Julio at leadoff and who that might be, but I'm racking my brain here, and I can't think of another one. You're not going to move J.P. Crawford up there. You're certainly not going to move that power trio of Polanco, Raleigh, Arozarena. Raley, no one else really makes sense. So just go with Dylan Moore. See what happens.
Well, what if you had Raley lead off against righties and Dylan Moore against lefties? Because that plays to both of their strengths.
Is Raley getting on enough though anyway right now? And you can say that about a lot of people. So that's
now, no, he's not.
Just the immediate reaction of the Red series and Dylan Moore on that hot streak. He hits really well away from home. So, all right, hey, you're away from home. Short-term fix, put Dylan Moore in there, see what happens. And I know you're probably not going to move Julio out of that leadoff spot, but yeah, the numbers, and I promised you the splits earlier in the show, he by far has taken his most at-bats in the leadoff spot and in the 2-hole. He's had his most at-bats by far. But, batting 5th, only 22 plate appearances, 21 at-bats, but 21 at-bats, 4 home runs, 7 RBI. It's pretty good percentages when, hey, if you want someone to bring you power in that situation, and then you don't have the brunt of the pressure of that leadoff spot to start a series, to face a road crowd. So that would be my solution, but I'm here, and the Mariners are there in Toronto, so we'll see what happens. Ultimately, if Cal can hit a home run every game, maybe it bodes well. We'll see what happens production-wise. But, a big series starts at 4 o'clock, 4:07 first pitch, 3 o'clock pregame here on Seattle Sports. So, 3 straight series wins, but still only 10-9 on the season. It would go a long way if the Mariners can get a comfortable win in this one, although that might be too much to ask. I know it's going to be an entertaining, chaotic game because that's what this stretch has been, but we'll see what happens. And now we have to get to the important topic at hand, right? I think More? We have some more. Here's the thing. A special Lyle, what is it? Lyle Learns edition or something? A special Lyle Learns edition of Here's the Thing.
Lyle hasn't learned enough edition, maybe?
Yeah, here we go. So a special Lyle Hasn't Learned Enough edition of Here's the Thing.
Brock Heward doesn't just hate one kid.
I am so disappointed in Michael Salk.
You don't know what you're talking about. You're mindless. Love you, bye.
It's time for Brock and Salk's Here's the Thing.
Okay, here's the thing.
We'll be back to a full version next week, but since we don't have either of the regular hosts here.
And that's what, Thursdays?
Yes.
Okay.
Thursdays at 8, once we're done with Brock's draft profile. We've been doing it at 9 while we get through Brock's draft profile.
Okay.
But we should be done next week because that's draft day. All right, we're going to start out with Jared. He left a message expressing his disappointment in Lyle's representation of their age range last week because he's also 26, 27. And he'd like to follow up with that complaint.
Here's the thing. Lyle. Oh, my God. Where do I begin? You don't know a single song by Stevie Wonder? I called you out last week, bro. You're embarrassing us. And you don't know what? You've never heard of Frasier? If I remember correctly, you don't know what city Nirvana's from. Do you know where Jimi Hendrix is from? Probably not. Oh, dude. I promise this is not how all 27-year-olds think. Ugh, dude. Lyle. Come on, man.
Dude. Lyle, you never heard of Frasier?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, I've never felt older.
I've heard of Cheers. I didn't know there was some spinoff in Seattle.
Oh, some spinoff. It was like ultimately almost as successful. That was part of the generational run for NBC.
A lot of seasons.
Like NBC was dominant because they had Frasier and Seinfeld and Friends, and then it kept going, and they had Scrubs, and they had The Office. They had everything. It was just nonstop. NBC was the peak.
It was
when people
11 seasons.
actually watched TV.
It was actually almost as successful as Cheers.
Cheers, yeah.
Are you serious? I mean, I've seen like an episode or two of Cheers. I've at least heard of that. But it's Frasier? I don't know.
Is that going to be next on the You Have to Watch Something? Are they going to make you watch Frasier? They've had Frasier nights at the Mariners. I think they're having one again. Yeah.
When?
The last year they had a Frasier night. We got to take you back to Frasier.
Gosh.
There's another one coming up, I'm pretty sure. So we'll make you go to Frasier night at the ballpark.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Also, Nirvana and Jimi Hendrix, aren't they from Seattle?
Yes, that was the joke. Yeah.
Nirvana's what, Aberdeen?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't tell you the exact cities, but I know Seattle.
Okay. Well, Coleman is mad at you, sort of.
So here's the thing. Lyle, I am in awe of your utter stupidity, ignorance, and just disrespect for everything that's going on around you. And I just would pay $1 million to have that stupidity, ignorance, and you don't know what Frasier is. It blows my mind. And I don't want to know what Frasier is because it was the worst show I've ever seen in my entire life. I would, and this is crazy, go to bed at night and there was only like 2 channels to watch. I know you don't know what that is. That's called living. And it was the worst. And I just would pay $1 million to have your ignorance. Just, can you call me, man? My number is... I'd love to learn how to be that stupid. Thank you for being my inspiration.
He's genuinely aggrieved by that. Oh. You have pained this listener.
No, I haven't. I've helped him. He said Frasier was awful.
Well, but he's mad
I won't say it was the best show.
that you have that naivety, that you have been just on this path of not understanding these pop culture things, which, was Frasier awful? No. Was it great? Some people think so. It was enjoyable. I think you have to be aware of Frasier, though. It's part of the general learning experience.
Yeah, just all we ask is that he heard of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a low bar. Just
Lefko, you also
hear
missed, the expression "the world's smallest violin." He thought that was a SpongeBob from SpongeBob.
It is.
Is it referenced in there?
But he thought that was the original reference.
What I know is the original reference. Mr. Krabs hits that note pretty well.
All right, we've got Josh in University Place.
Lyle's next lesson definitely needs to be Metallica because I just want to hear more of Mike Holmgren screaming at Brock Heward, "Hey, Brock, faster, faster!"
So that one wasn't really mean to you, Lyle. I don't know. Have we played that yet with you? We have this cut in here.
Hey, Brock, faster!
I have not heard that.
They matched that up with Metallica, so.
Hey, Brock, faster! Faster!
Oh, that's good.
So that's one that Salk likes to play a lot.
Okay, so can I make a recommendation here? I think you two need to do the Chat GPT for you guys at some point. Because I heard Salk and Brock that was highly entertaining.
There's more famous people than us. So if you ask it to roast Morraduli, it roasts the Irish poet. And if you ask it to roast Lyle, there's like some political, what is he, Lyle?
Well, just add more qualifiers to it.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
He deals in foreign affairs or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I tried adding like sports. It just gives you a description of what I do here at the station. I'm not cool enough.
Okay. You guys will get there. I think that would be funny. I mean, the listeners here have certainly roasted Lyle enough.
I think ChatGPT maybe pulls some of the insults they've seen on social media. It seemed like those were getting pulled in.
Okay.
So I think it's helpful if you have a lot of those floating out.
Well, then there's plenty of material for Brock and Salk. So, okay, I get that.
We're going to ask permission to see if we can read it when he comes on, but I put Jeff Passan in, and it did a pretty hilarious one. So we're going to see if he'll let us read that to him on Tuesday.
Oh, please do that. Were there any more for Lyle or no? That was all the...
There's one more.
Okay.
This is from Tim.
Here's the thing, Lyle, I've been pulling for you. I think these old guys have been too hard on you, but not knowing who Frasier is, come on, man. Even though it's fictional, it might be good to learn something about someone who was on, I don't know, Seattle radio. Can we please make that the next Lyle Learns? Come on, man.
That was funny. He did work at a radio station.
People really got on you for Frasier.
I guess. I thought the Beatles thing was going to be even worse.
What was the
I
Beatles
played
one?
the Beatles Happy Birthday for Brock the other day, and he didn't know who that was.
The Beatles or just the song? Or like...
you say it's your birthday.
Oh. But you've heard of the Beatles, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you meant at first. Oof. Okay.
No, there's a couple Beatles songs I can name, but they played that, and they asked me if I knew who this was. I was like, this is interrogation again. It's like, do you know who it is? I go, no. It's like, well, that's a little band called the Beatles.
Wait, did they have another movie for you? Has that been thrown out there yet?
We've been doing a lot of music just because baseball's taking up a lot of time now with the year starting.
Well,
so he listened to The Chronic.
A TV show's easier, so you could do Frasier.
That's true. That's only 20 minutes.
Well, make Salk make you do that, because I'm not the official representative of this show to make you do that, but hopefully the learning continues. So, hey, thanks, guys. This was a lot of fun. Fun show today. Big thanks to everyone that was involved in this one. Shannon Drayer, Brady Henderson, the normal friends that we have here on Fridays, G. Scott and Stacy Rost, and then Lyle and Maura. Appreciate the help. Mike Lefko in here today for Brock and Salk. They're back on Monday. Draft week coming up. Big Mariners series this weekend as well. All that's still ahead. But up next, it's Bump and Stacy here on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Get to the chopper!
4 down territory. Going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's something people may have confused about what a run-heavy offense actually means?
People think that they're just going to run the heck out of the football. We're running the ball 35, 40 times. That's not really it. I want people to think of a run-heavy offense as that's the first punch that's going to be thrown. And it's going to be thrown often. But there are days you spread them out and you just let it go because you feel like there's advantages in other places on the field.
4 down territory every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older. Need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Through June 23rd, get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data. Plus, get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all for $40 a month for 1 year. And ask how you can get a free 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply with paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Xfinity Internet required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year, rate increases to $70 per month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual fees vary and not guaranteed.
Are insurance companies taking you for a ride? Literally? Don't let them destroy your financial future. If you've been in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is your weapon against greedy insurers. They don't care about you, but Just Cause Legal does. Time is running out. Get the compensation you deserve. Call 253-859-8899 now or visit justcauselegal.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Take back control and fight for what's yours. Meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
The Mariners have a great slate of giveaways and special events all season long. Don't miss your chance to score a City Connect Captain's Hat Friday, April 25th, and a Moose Shoulder Plush Saturday, April 26th. Then get ready for a special Mother's Day weekend at the ballpark Friday, May 9th through Sunday, May 11th, featuring a clear purse giveaway for the first 10,000 moms on Sunday, the 11th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Go to mariners.com/promos to get your tickets and check out the complete promotion schedule.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Oki Golf Platinum Players Card is the best April golf deal with 7 prepaid rounds, discounted guest passes, and green fees. And now through April 30th, Oki Golf is offering 1 free bonus round with purchase of the Platinum Players Card. Visit okigolf.com